Rooster Teeth actually had really good technical difficulties music that they used to play, and I loved it. It was really good. You could actually get a shirt that just said technical difficulties.
Oh.
It's good.
I think I like the 90s color. Like, we'll be back soon.
Oh, the tricolor thing? That'd be good. So, who are you?
Nobody.
Welcome to the Wrong Button Podcast, show where we talk all things nerd, most things video games, and a whole hell load of Star Wars. Season 2 of Andor.
Pretty freaking great.
Actually, a quick disclaimer. Hey guys, Andor is oddly political.
What?
The thoughts and views of either of us may not reflect those of the other person at the table or the other people that are on this channel. That being said, if you are uncomfortable with us referring to the United States government as the evil empire, Nazis, or the bad guys, well, go watch some George Lucas interviews and go look up the Hugo Boss designs of the Imperial outfits. Disclaimer over. Sorry. I meant to warn you about that.
Yeah, all thoughts and opinions are my own.
That's fine. They might be shared, but I figured if we're going to talk about Andor,
you can't beat around the bush with it.
You cannot. You cannot. But you know what we can beat around? The first season. We didn't actually cover it.
Did we? I could have sworn we covered it.
Did
maybe my recollection, it was the fact that we had mentioned it within other podcasts that we had done at the time, but granted, Andor season 1 was what, 2022? Right?
Yeah. I'm going back to it now to get to that.
It's been many moons. I thought about that on my way over here, actually. Like, did we cover the first season? Will I contradict Tyler from many eons past?
See, I don't think we did. I think we really got started with either the Bad Batch or with
Ahsoka? Well, now we didn't start with Ahsoka.
We did not.
Book of Boba Fett, maybe?
We didn't do Book of Boba Fett.
I could have sworn we did Book of Boba Fett because we talked about pacing issues. We had to have.
Okay. I'm back on the first. I'm going through all of our episodes right now. This really isn't this. This is actually just going to be our what did we do today?
I was going to say, this is just us debating the prior podcasts that we've done in the past.
VGA with Mrs. Blade, Millennial Gears, Horizon. I did PAX, we did Japan. You and I did Ahsoka, and then we had the Ahsoka Saga 2 but 3 but 4 because of how it released. Yeah, no, we never covered Andor. You and I did...
Sounds fake to me, but okay.
You and I did the Bad Batch, and we did Star Wars preseason, which is the closest thing that I can think for it here is Star Wars preseason.
I could have sworn that we did Andor, but okay.
Yeah,
that just means I can't contradict myself.
No, so, that's what we're fine. You can.
I'm on the record for the very first time.
Yeah, Andor season 1 was great. You said it sucked. What? I did not. You don't have proof.
He said, and I quote, that this was the worst Star Wars project to ever be named ever.
God, but I go 10 out of 10 compared to this.
Okay.
Lightning strikes.
Since we did not do a season 1 recap of Andor, and this is just our thoughts on Andor season 2, but also since the series has now come to a close, I'd say just Andor in general. Let's tie it all in together. We have talked about a few different Star Wars shows, whether it be podcast related, on the podcast or not on the podcast. Just as friends. And you and I have talked about pacing issues throughout many different projects. There have always been pacing issues present.
Mm-hmm.
Would you say with Andor's season 2 that those pacing issues were also present in this show?
In season 2, yes.
You think so?
Yes. And that's we talked about this just briefly before I got on. I had one real criticism with the show. To start off positive, Andor, much like Rogue One, if you were to be like, hey, what's a good movie? Go watch Rogue One. It's a great movie. Do I need to know about? No. Do I need to watch? No. Just go watch Rogue One. You're going to enjoy this movie. It's yes, it's Star Wars, but it doesn't matter. Andor, same thing. It doesn't like go watch this TV show. Like it is. It's like watching The Wire. You're gonna have a great TV show. It's got its own political intrigue, its own characters. You've got a bad government. Like it has everything in there.
Mm-hmm.
The one criticism I had was the justification for Cassian and the crew to help Jyn Erso.
Yep.
Was like, we've all done some terrible stuff in the name of the rebellion. And now we want to do it because we want to do something good. Cassian only does like one terrible thing in this series. Or in that, and I think it's when he kills the guy in cold blood because you don't understand the context at the very beginning of
Tevik, right? Tevik, the guy who he killed at the start of Rogue One.
Yeah, that's the only time where I'm like, oh wow, that's a cold blooded killer right there.
And he also started off Andor by killing those 2 corporate security officers.
But he was jumped. It wasn't cold. The second one, okay, that one was. But it was also like, I'm gonna go to jail, so it's a big galaxy. They're not gonna find me. But yeah, that would be my only. That's my only actual criticism with the series is to me that didn't like line up with what they said.
Yeah,
and I was hoping for something a little bit. Now, if you're going to make the thing that KC does some like really dark shit, sure, I'll take that argument all day. Shout out to Alan Tudyk bringing it back.
So I don't agree with you at all. I think Cassie did some really, really messed up things. Maybe on a personal level with like a few of the cold-blooded killings for sure.
But what cold-blooded killings did he do? That's what I'm trying to think. I'm racking my brain. I just watched both seasons back to back again, and he really doesn't.
So for him, Cassian throughout the entire series is grappling with the fact that he's losing his independent. He's not fighting for just himself, you know. The awful things he does in the name of the rebellion is what he did for Luthen. You know, everything on the awful things that the Empire did on Gorman, which we're going to get to. Luthen had this wonderful line about, you know, like once he could see where everything was going on Gorman, he was like, we need this to burn brightly, you know? So I think when he says that we've done terrible things in the name of the rebellion, is that I think he is reflecting upon his time working under Luthen. And also, on top of that, he killed that Imperial soldier just because he saw Bix's face. Didn't have to kill the Imperial soldier as in one of the earlier arcs before they go to Gorman.
Yeah. But I guess doing the terrorist bombing, okay.
Yeah, but also and I think this is probably where the pacing issues come in for you, is that there's a lot of time and a lot of stuff that happens within Andor and with like the time jumps and everything that we still don't know all of his track record, his mission history, so on and so forth. So
that was really my like there were the jumps were needed because otherwise I think you could have made like 24 with this, where it's like 24 months and every episode's like a month or something. You could have done something with it that would have made it longer.
I feel like people forget about 24 a lot. Big TV show of its time.
Oh my god, yeah. I remember people being like, you missed an episode, now you had to wait until it came out on box set and you were like screwed for a season.
Yeah. But so your criticism is that it didn't pay off in Rogue One. That like is your criticism that we didn't go dark enough?
My criticism is that like it kind of made not seeing him do anything that was like truly like if Luthen would have been the one going to save Jyn Erso.
Yeah.
And like, we need to go do this. I'm going to do this with you. I've done a lot of dark things. I'd immediately be like, yeah, no shit. But watching Andor, like watching Cassian do it, I was like, you really didn't though.
Yeah, you're like awful things adjacent, Cassian. You're not the worst guy in the world.
Like I guess like be careful the friends you keep. Question mark.
You're no Saw Gerrera, man.
You're really not. And like I said, that's a very light criticism. Like if I was gonna say anything of like this kind of makes like just to me it doesn't lessen the show. It doesn't make it like less good, but like it's one of those things when you sit there and you watch it like 3 times because you're like, wow, this is really good. You go, that just doesn't like 1-to-1 to me. Like that's, but like it's other than that, it's like okay, now go do the thing, man. Like go play Fortunate Son and do the thing, and I'll be happy. It's fine.
So, I finished Andor season 2. I was behind the curve the entire season. I did not get to watch the episodes on their premiere date at all, which is the first for me with any Star Wars project. Like lots of stuff's been going on life-wise.
Life happens. You had me panicking. I could not watch it in Japan. Like I just wasn't having time at the end of the day.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck, I'm gonna need to get back and like try to blitz it, and then I got sick and I couldn't. And I was like, oh my god. And I get to work and I was talking to your significant other and I was like, yeah, we're here. She's like, oh, we're only here. I was like, oh, thank God.
So, and the thing is that sense of panic that you had in Japan. Chris was in Japan when Andor was coming out, by the way.
Yes.
Cool guy.
I didn't get to watch the first 2 episodes in Japan, though. At the Star Wars Celebration.
So that panic that you had in Japan, I had from, of all people, my brother. My brother, much like myself, will just have periods of time where, unfortunately, like we just don't talk enough because we're busy, or we'll just be like,
yeah.
But then there are other times where this man blows up my phone like crazy, and he called me 4-5 different times at like midnight, and he was just, and this was a recurring thing for him. He just called me up and was like, have you watched Andor yet? I'm like, no, not yet. He's like, you have to watch it. And just hangs up the phone.
Like, go watch Andor.
Yeah.
Don't talk to me until you watch Andor. You called me.
It's like making contact with somebody.
Yeah. It did give me like a level of anxiety because I was like, oh my God, how are we gonna do the podcast?
Yeah.
And like, honestly,
people are still talking about Andor. It's been what, 2 weeks?
I think, yeah, it came out not last week, the week before.
Yeah.
Like this past week was the week after it all happened. So full spoiler context, guys. We are going to go to the end of Andor.
Spoiler alert: Cassian dies.
Oh, way to spoil a 10-year-old movie now?
No, 2016.
Oh my God,
Force Awakens was 15.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was 1 year off. A 9-year-old movie.
This guy.
Not a true fan. So yeah, we'll talk about it a bit from the beginning. The first scene. Yeah, I think we did talk a lot about it. Because we talked the prison sequence is still, I think, the best arc in Star Wars.
I think the Gorman arc surpasses it personally. But to each their own. To each their own. Yeah. It blows my mind because I don't know if this is just what is the term where you think you remember something but it's not correct.
I have no idea. Go ahead.
But I remember talking about this with you, like the prison sequence, everything that happened on Aldhani. But now I don't know if I can trust my memory.
False memory.
Yeah. It's like, did we talk about this in a professional capacity?
Or we talked about it.
You're probably just fangirling.
Yeah, you and I talked. We've done so many streams and stuff together. Like,
yeah.
We probably talked about it during Extra Life and everything else. I still think that as far as everything goes, from the start of what happened to the end of the prison arc, is the best. I think is the best Star Wars has done. Pacing was perfect. The sense of dread was perfect. The payoff for that in season 2 was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
Actually,
I have a problem with that, but
really, we'll get to that. Okay,
yeah, we'll get to
Yeah, and I think that is great. I wish that Smeagol had had come back with us, Kino. I wish that he would have shown up. I would have loved. I mean, I realize he's not in Rogue One, but I would have loved to have seen him again in Andor season 2. He his character was great.
Yeah,
and like I said, the sense of dread and just how horrible that was is so good, and I think the Gorman arc gets close to it. I have other things that I really like about the Gorman arc.
I have goosebumps just thinking about it.
The Gorman arc was good, but I One Way Out. How many of them are there? They're rampaging through it. And they're huddled in the room with the only 5 guns they have, and then you have that paired with the speech of the guy who's writing the manifesto. Power is a brittle thing. They have to hold on to it because it's so unnatural. And you pair those two things together, and it's such a good sequence. And then at the very end of it, they give you the Butch Cassidy and Sundance Kid. I don't know if you've ever seen that. It's a very good classic Western where he gets to the top and he goes, "I can't swim," and you're like, "Yes, this is the biggest issue we have right now. Is I can't swim." It's such a good arc.
So, I must have said this 100 times over the last few weeks watching Andor season 2, and since we'd had so long between season 1 and season 2, because I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I'm 95% sure that Andor debuted the fall of 22. 95% sure, unless it's 23, then I'm way off. Not just the emotional investment that you have in Andor, its characters, the overall story. There was so much of a physical reaction for me watching season 2 of just suspense, dread, fear. I was on the edge of my seat the majority of that season. The majority of it.
And for 1 second, sorry. I bumped the camera.
They can't see us anymore?
We're frozen.
I should do something really funny when it's unfrozen.
You're good. I got it back.
Oh. But just the physical... Feeling all of this just physically and it registering my body... That's how you know you're watching great television. And it's been so long since I had that kind of feeling. I had it a lot. I did have it a good amount in the first season of Andor. And then off the top of my head, the last time I felt this kind of way was Game of Thrones.
Okay.
So
I actually talking about that with your significant other. One of the things that I thought that season 2 did so well was the seemingly randomness of the deaths. It was okay, people are gonna die. Mm-hmm. This is pre we're rebellion. This is we're trying something here, and they kind of hit it on the first season where it's the one guard who fell in love with the local and betrayed them. He gets killed early on. But then the one kid who's writing the manifesto, he gets crushed.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh shit, this is really terrible. What's going on there? Then season 2, some of the other characters were just bam, and you're I thought you were gonna, and we'll talk about when we get to those episodes more in particular. But it felt so meaningless and needless, and it was definitely part of the story. You needed that. But it was one of those things where shit. Oh damn! Okay, this is what we're doing now.
Nobody's safe.
No one is safe. Yeah,
that's a term, and again, another Game of Thrones mention. But that's up until the last season, which just don't even talk to me about the last season of Game of Thrones. But something the show did so well is that Game of Thrones made you fall in love with these characters, and then they would brutally murder them afterward. They're like, oh, you're really starting to like side character number 33? Dead, gone. Which still hard to think about some of the scenes in that show. But I think they made it accurate though, because before the rebellion was ready and it reached that point of like openly defying the Empire, like these are people putting everything on the line, and then one bad thing goes wrong, one bad piece of intel, and then you're dead. That's how you look at any like well documented resistance throughout history. Let's say, and a lot of people made the connection to like the French Resistance in World War II. You lose a lot of good people who gave everything.
And George Lucas talks about the rebels were based off the Viet Cong because we would have been, invading their place and fighting traditional warfare with all the machinery, all the fanciest weapons, and they don't have that, so they need to resort to guerrilla tactics, to like asymmetric warfare, like not sportsman. I want to say sportsmanly, like because that's like people go like it's not honorable. Like warfare is not honorable, man. There's no honor in death. Like it's you're alone and you shit yourself.
Nobody ever talks about the shitting.
Yeah, and it's just one of those like real moments. And I think the show does it well. Starting with season 2, like just starting with like Cassian being like, okay, we're like several years later. I liked the BBY. I love the Battle of Yavin, or before Battle of Yavin.
I love putting timestamps on it, like timestamps on anything, just because it's just cleaner. But that's just a me thing.
Rebels takes place after the Battle of Yavin, correct?
Before.
Before.
Rebels takes place. All of it is before the Battle of Yavin, and is actively taking place as Andor is taking place.
Okay.
So if I'm remembering correctly, yeah, and Rebels goes past. I want to say it goes right past Scarif, but I can't.
Well, yeah, because they would have been there, but it doesn't talk about it. They don't talk about where they are during the movies.
Yeah,
which I would. Well, no, you can't because.
Or it might. I think it might end like right before. So I think it goes past Scarif and then like just ends like right before A New Hope starts, like right in that very small window of time. Don't quote me on it, but
yeah, we do. I want to look that up because it would be like Mon Mothma would have already been like part of the rebellion.
Yeah.
Leia's already a little bit older,
and they do the transfer of Mon Mothma and Rebels.
So, yeah, that's right. Oh, okay. So they're taking place like right in between now.
Yeah,
like that would have been like right in the show when Mon Mothma was like, I need to like go around and make these speeches. Okay, no, that makes sense.
Yeah, they made. I think that this was probably the only Rebels Easter egg within the show, is that they made the comment that after Cassian gets Mon Mothma out of the Senate, that they wanted Gold Squadron to deliver her to Yavin for like the optics of it all.
Okay.
And then that transfer happens in Rebels.
Yes. So. Okay. And I know that one of the things with that is they also said they didn't want to be stuck to the speech from Rebels, so they did she did different speeches depending where she went. I'm like, that's also I'm completely fine with that.
So
go ahead.
Yeah, and I don't know if this is a criticism or if it was just because the time elapsed, but I do recall when Andor season 1 started and they released, I want to say it was 4 episodes to start, and everybody was like, wow, this is a real slow burn. There wasn't a lot of action or plot progression with the start of Andor as a series. And I wanted to go back and watch season 1 and season 2 before we did this podcast, but time.
Yeah. No, Mrs. Play. Mrs. Play and I started watching season 2, and she jumped in. It's just, this is really cool. What's going on? I was like, we have to watch season 1. Can we watch season 1? Season 1.
Well, and I agree with her too, because it took me a hot minute for my brain to like access everything that had happened in season 1. To get up to speed with season 2.
Sure.
So I would say it was still it was still a slow burn to start the second season to a degree as well.
It was, but my thing here is, you've heard Mrs. Play. I couldn't get an Andor. It was too slow. Watch the second season. This is really good. Yeah, no shit. Can we watch season 1 again? Okay, honey, I love you. Let's watch season 1. Like, it was just, it's one of those. Like, you're going like, oh, this, and I'm like,
and that really solidifies Andor. Why am I just making so many parallels to Game of Thrones right now? But it's not TV you keep on in the background. It's TV you need to be dialed in for.
Yes.
So
don't be afraid to pause, go back.
Try to be of sound mind.
Yeah.
Don't be
put on the subtitles.
Or
I had the subtitles on. I didn't.
I do subtitles for everything. I just can't not do subtitles.
I'm now the same way, but like it didn't. Like there were a couple parts in like Kenobi where I felt like the subtitles really helped.
Oh, we did a podcast for Kenobi too, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. We did a whole thing for Kenobi. Yeah, but the podcast. But I'm sorry. But for Andor, like I didn't catch any of that. Like everything was very clear and very, very upfront. I liked the start of the second season. I think a little bit more than the first season.
I'm with you.
But like, because when you get there, you get to the Cassian is like, I'm gonna smuggle out this TIE. Was it
TIE Avenger?
Yeah, it was modeled after Kylo Ren's, and I can't. Did they just like retcon the TIE Advance?
So they pulled that from Legends actually and made it canon again. It was from either a really old game or a really old comic. Don't quote me on it.
Yeah.
I thought originally, and I was racking my brain, but I was like, that can't be a TIE Defender. We're not there yet. Like that can't be Thrawn's. And also, they would not have had an easy job smuggling that thing out if it was Thrawn's Defender.
Yeah.
So yeah, that really racked my brain. That was that was about as comedic as Andor got this season, I think, in terms of like lightheartedness and such to a degree. Because then you get into the second stretch of the second season and it's just depressing, and high stakes and more depressing.
So does the TIE Interceptor is just the TIE Intervenger?
No, the Interceptor is different.
I'm telling you, I'm looking at it right now. I think the only difference is the Avenger has the weapons on the tips, and the Interceptor has them like right inside the things.
Well, yeah, but the Avenger's also bigger.
Okay.
It also has, it has like.
Oh, it has like the rocket pods and that stuff. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But it was okay. That really doesn't matter. It was just one of those things. I saw that and I was like, "What is this?" But like Cassian crash landing on the planet after stealing that, and just like getting captured by another team, another rebel team, and it's like he has no idea who they are, and like softly like pitting them against each other, causing like it was so good, and it like to me, I'm like that's where Cassian gets like a little ruthless. He starts sowing in like the seeds of dissent.
He's looking out for himself.
Yeah, to like figure out what's going on there, and that entire sequence I was actually really good. Where he's like Cassian goes, "Hey guys, the rain's not gonna last forever. Fucking, there's a tarp up there. Go get the tarp, get some water. That way we have something to drink." And then he's like, "You guys need to have like you all are bad at this."
Yeah. This is very obviously your first rodeo.
Yeah. And then he's sitting there, of course, starts talking to the one guard. He goes, "So what, they don't trust you?" It's like, "You and me could get out of here." And it's like the one guard's like, "I can shoot you." And they're all like, of course, arguing like, "If we shoot him, like, we'll kill him. But how are we going to get out of here? Like, how's that going to fix our problem?"
I thought that rebellions need strong leadership.
That is.
And patience.
And yeah, but like that entire sequence, I was like, this is really good. I'm so happy it happened. And then like, of course, getting out and going to figure out like what happened to Bix, what happened to
and yeah, remind me, what was the planet that they were hiding out on? The farm planet?
Mina Rao hosts Cyril's
was it Mina Rao?
I think it was Mina Rao.
Oh, was it?
No. Mina Rao. Yeah, that's the name of the planet. Yeah, that was the farm planet. sorry. I have a character that I hate from the series. From Andor.
Really?
I fucking hate Will. I fucking
What did Willman do to
hate
you?
Will. Will is the reason that people die as needlessly as they do.
Oh, like Rasso?
Like Rasso. You know what? We told, like, you can't tell her where you're going, but I have to go say, shut the fuck up.
He's young. He was in love with the farmer's daughter. Give him a break.
He complained about the farmer's daughter before that.
Listen, man, love ain't a straight line. Give Willman some break. Give him a break. But yeah, honestly, so yeah, it did lead directly to Brasso's death. So I mean, I wasn't a big fan of Willman in that moment either. However, the rest of the season he made up for it.
Or what almost happened to Bix again because she can't catch a break.
Yeah.
I didn't think
Disney had the balls for these kind of scenes.
Oh my god!
Like that's the kind of stuff that ends up being stuck on the cutting room floor. But that was so hard to watch.
So Bix, Cassian's love interest, gets assaulted in the first season, where she gets tortured.
Yep.
And in the second season, they're like, by the way, we're going to sexually assault her. And well, I'm sorry, no, they're going to rape her. Her words.
Yep.
Not sexually assault. They're going to rape her. And it doesn't happen because at that point, I think if that would have happened, I might have stopped watching the show. That
was also one of the first portrayals of somebody actually taking a blow to the head and like not being kosher after it.
Yeah, but it was just one of those scenes where I'm like, and I know that that's the kind of thing that would happen in real life because she'd already been weakened. Like that is the kind of monstrous thing that armies do. And I'm like, I don't know if I would have been able to keep watching after that.
Yeah.
I might have actually just like tapped out and been like, I know it happens, and I don't like. You should never feign ignorance. Like the military, the United States military, we've had a lot of issues with that, and like I've been on the cases where we have to arrest our own because they're monsters like that.
Yep.
And I was just like, I don't know, like, and even the actress who played her was just like, you have to go there. You can't shy away from it. You can't turn it around. If you want to show how much, if you want to portray the Empire as the monsters they are, you can't allow them just to be cartoonishly evil. You need to make them horrifically evil.
Yep.
And they do. Oh.
Yeah, give me goosebumps. And a lot of people, there's a lot of discourse throughout season 2's showing that everybody is like, wow, they're trying to make a political statement with this show, but actually the writing has been done for years. You know, like...
Go watch the original movies.
Yeah.
Like...
Yeah, people who say that, like, oh, politics should be in Star Wars. My brother,
that's always been there.
It's always... Yeah.
Like the astronaut at the moon thing. Like, oh my god, it's always been there the whole time.
Yeah.
The Empire is modeled after the SS uniform from the Nazis.
Yeah. They're space Nazis,
guys. They are space Nazis.
Yeah.
And George Lucas was impacted by the events of fucking the Vietnam War.
Yep.
So when he makes the Viet Cong look like the good guys and the rebels, he just gives them the cool stripe on their pants now. And he sits there and goes, these are the good guys because the Empire is the big bad guys. He's still talking about the United States. Now, he's not saying it's the United States. He's going like, we're going to make them look like Nazis. But if it walks like a Nazi, if it goose steps like a Nazi, if it says, my heart goes out to you in a very weird way like a Nazi, guess what? Probably a Nazi.
Yep.
It took a lot not to do, like, my heart goes out to you. I'm like, yeah, you don't need to do that. Everyone got it. And if not, there are gifts out there.
So, the events on Mina Rao were disturbing, and it also reflects very heavily on a lot of issues within our country that pertains to immigration, that pertains to stuff that goes on down at our border and such. They portrayed it, unfortunately, like perfectly.
Oh my god, yeah.
Whereas one of the worst things that could ever happen is if somebody tries to audit you and see who's here, what do you have, you know? And
then it's just, and he says, we know that they're illegal people.
Yeah.
Like, we know that you need the work. Like, it's not, we're not saying this as like we know it's true, but we have to, like, round some up because that's our job, but we also don't want to like slow down production.
Yeah.
And like you can like go read the Diary of Anne Frank. Like they talk about that. Like you start looking at people who start getting rounded up in Germany. It's the exact same thing. That's all they're doing. Like they're drawing on history.
Yep.
And history sadly repeats itself a lot because no one lives long enough to remember the lessons.
I'll work on living longer. All right.
Yeah, we'll work on living longer.
It never ends.
Yeah, on Mina Rao, but like Will. So what happens is on Mina Rao, Will meets a farm girl, and she's like, "I love you. I brought you water because it's hot out here." And they're like, "Oh, Will's got a girlfriend." Almost like I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but not by much. Then they go back and they're like, "Oh, they're coming. Hey, I got you guys like a fake pass to get all the way over here, so that way you can like circumvent, you know." And they're like, "Okay, when are we gonna leave? We're gonna leave tonight." And then Will just fucking leaves because he's got to tell her that I'm going somewhere. Like, I'm going to try to get one real quick in the hayfield. And that's what it felt like.
No, that's not what it felt like. That's what happened, all right?
And then Brasso's like, well, I got to go look for him. And it's just one of those things where it's like, if you had just told, like, they would have told you no. But if you wouldn't have listened to him, they'd have probably been like, fuck it, leave him. Like, he probably would have been fine if he just stayed down in that farm field.
Mm-hmm.
And they, like, could have left. Like, it probably would have worked out even better. And then, yeah, it just, like, Will. Fucking Will.
So, yeah, in that first... Because there's 4 different arcs that encompass the season. You have everything going on with Mina Rao. Simultaneously, Cassian gets stuck in a jungle, which turns out to be Yavin, by the way. I thought that was a really nice touch. The jungle that he crashes the TIE fighter in, they're on Yavin 4. I don't know if you caught that.
No, I did not.
So, yeah, at the very end when he's leaving in the TIE fighter finally, he's leaving at sundown, and you can see the ancient temples.
God damn it.
Yeah.
Go back and rewatch that.
So, funny. They never had to like come out and say that it was Yavin, but I thought that was really nice.
That's a really good one. Maybe I noticed it. I was like, I wonder where they're at. That looks familiar.
So with those 2, I guess, settings in the first arc, cool. What was really interesting was the dynamic on the Imperial side of things with Deidre and Cyril. Krennic is introduced in the season. I can't get it out of my head, but it's like when they're having the meeting about Gorman in that like top secret like Imperial base in the mountains, which also was modeled after I'm blanking of the name of it, but a Nazi fortress in the Alps.
Yeah, I know right. You were talking about
but he's like, have you all ever been to Gorman?
Yeah.
There was a lot of great intrigue on the Imperial side of things to kick off this season. Deidre and Cyril being a thing, just they were made for each other. They're wackos.
Mrs. Play called that, and I didn't see it because Cyril, like,
he loves being told what to do. He loves it. He loves his Dami mommy.
He does, but like Nicole's like, oh, he's so obsessed that when she does something wrong, he's gonna go hyper violent and like damn near kill her. And I was like, I don't think so. He seems a little too wimpish. And Nicole's like Mrs. Play gets a look, and she looked at me and she's like, shut up, you don't know what you're talking about. And I was like, okay, well, I guess I'm gonna sit here. And then she brought up again, and I was like, I still don't think so. I didn't say it like to contradict. I was just like, I don't see his character being capable of it.
That's not in our personalities, you and I.
Yeah, and
so I didn't call that either.
Yeah, and Mrs. Play's like, nah, man, watch what happens. Then it happens. She goes, "What I fucking tell you?" And I was just like, all right, okay.
It's crazy to me because Cyril, he always wants to be It was to do like something of meaning, and that's in the first season he got obsessed with hunting down Andor because he killed two of his corporate security buddies, and then
wiped out his platoon, got him fired,
and then gets mixed up with everything at the end of season 1, and then seeing him in season 2, he's like with the Bureau of Standards. He takes like that undercover ISB job, and he thinks he's on Gorman, by the way. Just didn't say that before. But he takes like that undercover job working in a field office in Gorman, and you're just sitting there like, does he know what he's working toward? Like, does he know like the mission that he is on for the Empire?
He believes in what was, let's rate it present day. He is a Republican who believed that Trump was going to make the country better and great. And is like, until it will directly affect them, like either hits their bottom line, causes their friends to go out of business, or people that they know and like to get arrested. Like, he's like, nope, the Empire's here to protect. You know, Trump came in, ICE is getting rid of the bad guys. Like, they're not doing anything wrong. All of this is 100% needed. And like, just signing over power to the Empire. And he's like, I believe in what I was sold, and I think it's right. And my Empire, right or wrong.
Well, I don't agree with that totally. Cyril, I give him credit because he's smarter than his mom, which was also a really weird side arc of the start of the season.
After we finish this, I do want to go back to that arc because I actually really liked it a lot.
Yeah. But he believes in the Empire of what like the ideals, what they talk about.
Yes.
You know, he believes that like the I wouldn't say the propaganda, but he believes that order is necessary, and like he hates chaos. And we didn't get a good picture of Cyril growing up or anything like that. We didn't get that kind of backstory for him, so we don't know what he was like during the days of the Republic. But that's just he loves the order.
Yes,
that man loves order.
He'd love him some first order.
So yeah, the build up they did for Cyril and Deidre to have dinner with Cyril's mom. They didn't say like what they were stressed out about, or like why like we could do this another time. They were beating around the bush as to what they were preparing for.
It was like, we have to do it. Like, is this all you want to buy? I thought if I didn't come back, we can just say it didn't come back.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, we're doing it.
And so I sat there and I was like, I wonder if they're preparing for his mom or something, like half joking, but then like it is Cyril's mom who shows up, and I was like, yeah, that's a mother-in-law type. You get married. That's not all marriages are like that, but some marriages are.
There is a point, and this is my side tangent on relationships. I'm not the end all be all. I've made plenty of mistakes. I will make plenty more. I've only been married for like 14 years. So like, it hasn't even been that long. There comes a point in a relationship where you choose the person that you're in the relationship with.
Yep.
And what I mean by that is, like, a lot of times, like, you might be like, oh, like, when I first got married, and like, here's like one of the big things that, you know, like, a lot of men have their emergency contact as their mom at like most places.
Guilty.
And I would say up to a few years ago, I also had my mom. Now my mom is number 3. It goes my wife, my sister, because my sister's a registered, like, my sister's a nurse at Johns Hopkins. So like, if something happens, my sister could get called and like break it down to everybody. And then it goes to my mom. And the only reason it goes in that order is because it's like, well, my wife can't always have her phone at work and has like dead spot where she works. So like, something happens, like, this is the order of which it's called. And that is fine. And in this episode, we watched Deidre choose Cyril.
Yep.
Like, quick behind the curtain, like, because, oh my god, that entire sequence is so uncomfortable. Like, I hate how sterile. Like, my house is not pristine, despite what you might think by like the pristine background I have here that's slightly off kilter. But like, I like a very neat and tidy house. Please don't pay attention to the backlog piled up over there and a few other things that I just did.
They can't see it all.
Yeah, they can't see any of that right now. But like, there's,
for all intents and purposes, his house is pristine.
Yeah.
Listen to a word he says. I've never seen a house cleaner in my entire life. Anyway.
Continue. Wow, you're gonna get hit by lightning so fast. But like they keep their house like sterile, and that bothers me in its own way.
They love order. That's just how it is.
It is. Like, I like clean. I don't want sterile.
Yeah.
Like, give me something lived in. But like, when
there are people like that in the world,
there are, and when she starts like dripping the fucking gravy, and like it just like grinding the butter knife on the china, and I'm sitting here like watching them I'm like.
Yeah.
And at no point am I like, wow, Cyril really has it rough. I'm sitting here watching this going like, fuck, Cyril really has it rough, man. Like, just like watching this, and it's bothering me so much. But then like, Deidre, like he's like, I need to go check on something. Deidre's like, okay, go check on something. And she's like,
and she lays down the law.
Oh my god. Yeah, I like, there are times where you're gonna have to do that in your relationship too, like to somebody else.
Yeah, she's like, let me tell you, I didn't like Deidre as a character all that much, personally.
Yeah.
Like, great acting job, all that. But, like, just as the character, I was like,
yeah, you're a corporate, like, career trying to make your way, whatever.
But, man, I was like, damn.
My God, he got himself a baddie.
Yeah.
You know what he's doing. She's successful.
And it's like, there's this really recurring Twitter post, and it's like, quiet guys, like, why do you go after loud, fiery women? And it's like, well, somebody's got to tell the waiter my order is wrong, and it ain't gonna be me. Like, that's exactly the nature of their relationship.
There's a great meme. I don't know if you've ever seen Dragon Ball Z, but Krillin marries Android 18, and it's them up at the counter, and Android 18 puts her finger through the counter because she's like this. He said he wanted the toy.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. My wife will do that for me.
Yeah.
No, you can go ahead and walk all over me. I'm fine. I'll say thank you.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was the first time that I was like, I feel terrible for Cyril. Like, you met his mom in the first series, and I'm like, you're a bit of a cuck. Like, I mean, like, don't like yuck someone's yum, but like, I just think you're a bitch.
Yeah.
And then in this season, I'm like, wow, man, you didn't really need. You know what? I'm so glad you found a strong, independent woman who's like,
I'm so glad you moved out of the house.
Yeah, like, I'm so glad that you and Deidre found each other. This scene right here, I'm like, okay, this to me is worth it. You see the tail not working?
It startled me, yeah.
Yeah, it's but yeah, it's just this. God, that entire and I can still see the splat, like
yeah.
When it like hits the. Oh, go ahead.
Any sensory people, man, just lost it.
Oh, go ahead. You can go for a second. I'll see the moment.
So we have, and the start of season 2 is easier by default because the slow burn of the start of season 1, like you know Andor.
Mm-hmm.
If you watch Star Wars, you know Mon Mothma.
Mm-hmm.
So you know some of these characters, but you don't know anybody else. So you still have to have that set up for a lot of these other characters, which takes time. Takes time in a show. It was still a slow burn for the start of season 2 for Andor. The first arc, my girl Bix, like you said, she does not deserve all that to happen to her. Like, somebody please, God. Like, somebody get her some help. And in the second arc, the Gorman arc.
Well, so we also have in that Mon Mothma's arc.
Mm-hmm.
And did you?
Oh, the wedding, yeah,
the whole wedding sequence.
Right. For some reason, I forgot that happened in season 2.
So, and that was, I think, what made season 2 feel like it made the pacing to me better. Like, season 1, I think, had excellent pacing because it was like, follow Cassian. Here's what's happening over here. Follow Cassian. Here's what's happening over here. Follow Cassian.
Yeah.
But it was very much like jump. But this was like, no. Here's Cassian. Here's what Mon Mothma is dealing with. here's what Luthen's dealing with.
Yep.
Here's what Bix is dealing with. And then, of course, you've got Deidre and Cyril. So you had all those times where it's like, at this time, what are they all going through? Bam.
Yep.
Bam. And Mon Mothma, like, the fact that it's like her daughter runs and, like, finds ancient space Catholicism.
Yep.
And is, like, sought out an elder on Coruscant to invite the girls over to follow it. Like, her husband, parent... All right, I sent you that
I
thing.
haven't had a chance to watch it yet, actually, but I wanted to. I was at work.
Okay.
I think if I had to guess, I kind of know where maybe it was going toward, but...
Like, it kind of goes towards... And he words it very well. But, like, so Mon Mothma has her husband, Perrin.
Yep.
And it's a very antagonistic relationship. Daughter loves her daddy because daddy lets her do whatever she wants and encourages her to follow the old ways. And Mon Mothma's like, hey, honey, you're 14. Maybe don't get married.
Yeah.
And then it's like, he won't hold my hand. He's a child. And when that's... So this is happening during the wedding, right? So there's this wedding that's happening, and they're like, we have to have all these parties. So they have parties. Friends come to visit. And then the daughter's like, he won't hold my hand. So they have their first fight, and he leaves. And Mon Mothma goes like, hey, I'm so, so sorry. I know what that's like.
Yep.
Because you remember, Mon Mothma has an arranged marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, next day happens, and they're like, okay, we're going to do this, and, you know, we're gonna continue talking. And, you know, cousin comes back, let's go walk up the hill. And then they get right before the wedding, and Mon Mothma looks at her daughter and goes, you don't have to do this. We can walk away now. People will say you're brave. My mom was shit-faced. And the daughter has the audacity to go, I wish you were drunk. Like, I wish you weren't being my mom right now. And then Mon Mothma goes, fine, get fucking behind me. If we're going to do this, we're going to do it right. And marries off her daughter.
A sacrifice she made for the rebellion.
And... yeah, I don't think she ever expected to go that far. I think her thing was she was expecting her daughter to, like, back out.
Yeah.
And it's just one of those things where when her daughter said that, I was like, I don't know of anyone who, like, runs to Catholicism. I could be wrong if you're Catholic. Not judging you. I know that you judge us. But, like, it was just one of those things where I'm watching that and I'm like... And I my heart broke for Mon Mothma because at no point do we see her be, like, negligent to her daughter, not care what her daughter thinks. Like, her daughter might think, you know, what have you. And honestly, she probably wasn't around a lot because Mon Mothma is doing something that's bigger than her family.
Yep.
And at the same time, I'm like, oh, Mon Mothma was willing to give up her shot at the rebellion to make sure her daughter was happy. Her daughter has no idea. Just throws it in her face and is like, they'll say you're brave. You will have to live with it for like a year or two, but you will be hailed as brave. And she's like, no. And it's just...
heartbreaking.
oh my God.
Yeah. Love Mon Mothma and her character. You say character development as if she's not, like, already developed character within just the universe itself, but just seeing that struggle that she went through.
But this is also, like, before anything else that she's done. Like, she's not the rebel leader yet, and...
she's still a senator, though.
She is, but, like, it's... this, to me, is, like, a trial of, like, a crisis of faith, self, and then, like, torn between, do I do what's right for the world or do what's right for my family?
Yep.
And I think that just because she's established doesn't mean she doesn't get a good character jump right there.
It was done. It was handled beautifully.
Yeah. And then get shit-faced afterwards because she's like, well, I have to live with this now. Might as well...
There's... boy. So much was packed into season 2 that between the second and the third arc, my brain is a little confuddled in between which comes first and which comes second.
Okay.
They did a lot of justice, I think, to fleshing out some of the Rogue One characters, except for K2, but, you know, we'll get to that. I really love what they, like, the scenes that we had with Krennic in this season to show, much like the Sith, the Imperials only care about power, prestige, their ranking, and
he was very flamboyant. Even his character described very flamboyant.
Yes, he is Krennic is the poster boy for wanting to move up the ladder. And so with the second arc, they had, what was it? The Chandrillan wedding, was that? I guess that also happened within the first one. How long were they on Mina Rao? Was it?
Not very long. So it's like 1 year later, the Sargosa team, Harvest.
Yeah, because that happened in the first arc, and then the Chandrillan wedding also happened in the first arc.
Yeah, that happens. It's season 1, or it's episode 1 and episode 2. At the end of episode 2, I think is. Yeah, the wedding happened in 2, and then in 3 is when we learn about Tay being unhappy, and Luther being like Tay Colma. I did not see that coming. I expected the husband or the new brother-in-law for them, or the husband, like the in-laws. I expected one of them to be the defector, and I was like, ooh, and then it was like Tay's like, I'm unhappy. All my business dealings went south because of the fucking rebels, and
I'm doing this for my old girlfriend.
Yeah,
who's like not even actually really appreciative of this. I'm like, are you kidding me? He was a man at the brink, willing to do whatever it takes to save his own ass. He feigned in season 1. He feigned caring about the rebellion. Mainly, he just wanted to get back in Mon Mothma's pants. Like that's the vibe he gave off to me, at least in season 1.
It felt like that, and because her parent does make that, like, he's like, oh, and now his wife's gone and run off, so like, but it's one of those things where it's like that, where I was like, or he's gonna play on the fact that, like, yeah, they're old boyfriends. Hey, can you lend me some money? I'm good for it. Because it's like, hey, charitable foundation. Hey, how much am I gonna? Because he goes like, we're talking pay here. Will I get paid? Like, if I get paid, I'll do this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay. Like, and then in the second season, being like, my business is drying up, and I still don't have money. I wonder if he actually had gambling problems.
It sounded like it.
Yeah, like I know Perrin
does, but Perrin's loaded. So
yeah,
I mean, he's. So let's talk about what happened to poor Tay Colma. And I actually, before we launch into formally, I guess, like into the second arc, and we get a lot of the setup. Can we talk about the sequence at the end of the first arc of episodes where you have the wedding?
Yep.
You have Cassian getting back to Mina Rao to save Bix and Wilman. And then there's one other sequence that's like going on within that. But you have these sequences going on. And I just wanted to point out the score during the end of this, is that you have this battle going on where, like, Cassian's coming in his nice fancy TIE fighter to go save them. But then you also have Mon Mothma finally, like, letting loose at the wedding. She's getting crunk. She is getting dancing.
She's getting like, crunk like millennials got crunk when Little John came on.
Yeah, like we're talking like a 2010 getting crunk. Get out of here.
I was gonna do all the entire thing. I was like, you doing it.
Well, no, but that's my point. Is that like they had the Star Wars equivalent of a disco ball come out, right? Which was so funny.
Starts playing the wub wub.
Yeah, and it's just like this beat club music. Like this is what the younger kids in the galaxy are listening to these days. And then you have Brasso die during that, and like the music's still going.
Yeah,
it's like all of these other characters. Mon Mothma's like just letting it go, and just like she needs that. She needs it so bad. But Bix had like almost gotten raped. Cassian's like, what the fuck happened? Like, I can't believe Luthen would keep this from me. And so like they're going through all these really awful things, but then the music in the background is just like
are you a Daft Punk fan?
I like their music. Yes, I don't know if I'd say like I'm not like a hardcore fan, but yeah, I like their music.
Have you ever seen the music video for One More Time?
Mm-mm.
Should go back and watch it. It was called like Interstellar 9. It's the anime that they made a musical anime using their music to tell the story through this anime. And in one more time, it shows the characters like playing the music, and the music lulls them away so they lose themselves to whatever's happening in the background. And so the whole thing is like how distracted they are with all of this while everything else goes on in the background. So a lot of people are like, Mom was just getting crunk in the club and letting her hair down. Like and it's like no, like everything is going on and she knows it's all going on and she's still here for that. So the music is the chaos of it all for her.
Which is great for her, for that scene. Just it playing for everybody else too just sent me. Like I think if you go on my Spotify like on repeat playlist, I think, and the title of that song, by the way, like that's for the score, is Brasso.
Yes.
So like,
oh, I saw you like you posted that or sent that to me, which like or you sent to your significant other like Brasso. They didn't have to do me like this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it was good.
I was gonna say I will admit at the end of that episode too, I might have been under the influence of, I'm not in my right mind. For the camera. So like just feeling that a little bit more was something that I had to sit with for like a solid 20 minutes after that episode. And what happened? Where are we? What?
So one of the things that I want like in this one is like Vel, you learn is like Mon Mothma's cousin, or like sister, cousin, like really good friends and everything else. But like what we do is we see Vel's outside to watch Tay like leave because Luthen goes, "Hey, just so you know, your boyfriend, he's dying. Like we need to protect you. I'll find a number." He goes, "Once there's a number, you will never be able to reach it."
Yep.
The number will always change. There will always be a new number, and you see Cinta. It's like, oh, are you this person?
Make her season debut.
Yeah, where's so and so? Oh, I don't know. I think he was sick. I was just told to meet you here. And Vel like sees Cinta, and Cinta sees Vel, and I love how much Cinta's like, we said we were here for the rebellion.
Yep.
What we get comes second. That's the way it has to be.
Mm-hmm.
And Cinta follows through with that. Now, it doesn't tell us how Tay dies.
Nope.
All we know is he does go missing. And it does get confirmed that he died.
Yep.
Cinta comes back later in the season after having to be gone for a year. I'm wondering if she crashed the speeder to make it look like an accident.
And that's how she got in the process.
Yes.
That is a great theory. That's fantastic.
I don't want her to just like turn around and shot him because I'm like, something would have come up, but like, oh, she got hurt and this happened. And Luthen had to like go in and be like, somebody else for like 10 minutes to rescue her and let her heal somewhere.
And so that reaches into the overarching theme of the show for Andor is that it's sacrifice. Like what these characters have sacrificed for the rebellion to make, I think Saul said in Rogue One, like save the dream. What all of these characters sacrificed to make that dream have a chance of becoming a reality. Like for Mon Mothma, like she sold her daughter into an arranged marriage to cover her financial backing of the rebellion. Lost her childhood friend Tay Kolma. Lost her Senate career down the road. Andor. Cassian, he lost his independence. I mean, he could have walked away from it and tried to walk away. I think like 8 different times.
Mm-hmm.
So you had all these characters and like the sacrifices that they had made. A lot of them paid with their life by the end of it.
I like that every one of them is like what Luthen says, because when Luthen and like is Jago? No, who's the ISB plant?
Oh, Lonnie.
When they meet, he's like, "What have you sacrificed?" And Luthen's like,
he goes on his.
He's like, "I don't sleep. We have Bix who doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
I sacrificed my humanity, and it's like this. I don't have a and he goes through it. And if you now watch it, every character is what Luthen has sacrificed at one point in time, and it's great.
Yeah, he says, like he's building toward a sunrise we'll never see.
Yeah.
So, oh god, sorry, I have chills just thinking. Like recounting Andor is so hard for me to do on this podcast right now because I just have to take a second to process it again. It's still very fresh. It's hard. It's still hard to watch. Hard to process. So yeah, we can talk about the time jumps too here. Originally, Andor was supposed to be a 5-season show.
Was it?
It was.
Damn.
5 seasons. And then it got condensed down into 2, which I thought was the right call. And believe it or not, Tony Gilroy and Diego Luna made the choice that, like, hey, like, we don't want to work on a TV show for 10 years. It's like they would have had Andor going through 2032 if they did like a whole 5-season slate. So I thought, in light of that information and having to cover so much time in such a short season, I thought they did a really good job with the time jumps.
They did. I think I could have used 3 seasons.
I know you could have. I think we all could have used 3 seasons.
Not even more. I just think like there are like some of the time jumps now where I'm like, then we could have spent more time with things.
We could have, but I think it also fosters the imagination.
It does.
So,
like, what is the Clone Wars? Like, yeah. it is that.
It leaves a lot of room for if you want to cover this. You know, if you want to
do a book.
Yeah, do a book, comics. If like another creator wanted to use some of these characters, easily, you easily put it in there. So yeah, I thought like the first couple of arcs were done really well. With the show, I loved the Gorman arc more than anything, just because of a lot of the stuff that the campaign they had against the Gormans was so masterfully done from an Imperial standpoint that it's sickening.
Mm-hmm.
They did a great. Listen, if you're going to be evil, man, go all out. But whether it be like the propaganda, they were egging on the Gormans the entire time. They were playing 4D chess with people who were not prepared to fight how the Empire fights. And
I think Gorman, for me, is the part that I like the most about this, of some of the needless death being so random. And it wasn't even, it was like, because we get there and Cassian gets sent by Luthen to play something Sky.
Varian Sky. Fashion designer. That man looked hot.
Oh my God. Diego Luna? Pedro Pascal, man. You need to step up your game. I think Diego Luna's going to
I hate to break it to you, Pedro, man. I love you too, but
you were a heartthrob, but
you put Diego in that
Sky.
Yeah. You put him in that scowl with those sunglasses, and I was like, damn. That would be me dressing every day if I could, if I were 1, rich, and 2, taller.
I would totally dress like I love all the rebel looks of like the rebel heroes. Like, I hate Luke Skywalker's jacket at the end of A New Hope.
Oh, with like the white on the inside?
And it's like bright yellow. But I love the design of everything else. Like Han Solo, like I would just switch out the vest for a good coat.
Yeah.
Like I want a little bit of Firefly and a little bit of Star Wars, and I want to go like this.
Give me like every Star Wars pants out there, though.
Oh my God, I would wear those Rebel pants every day. I wouldn't give a shit. Just start hemming that shit up the side.
Yeah.
Giving the tick marks on it too.
Yep.
Wow, it's great.
This is actually just the Star Wars fashion podcast.
Fashion cast.
But yeah, so
and the masks. Can we talk about the masks? Hello.
Sorry. Continue.
But so we get here, and Cassian is supposed to go meet with the Gorman Resistance, Viva la Resistance, because they're France, ha ha ha, and he gets there and he's like, yeah, you guys, I don't. No, I know what it is, and you just don't have it. Like, you guys aren't ready for this. And they're like, we need to do something. And he's like, you all will die. Like, you all will be you all are so inept. You have no idea what you're getting into. And, like, we don't have the time to teach you because I don't think you guys will listen. You're not soldiers. You're not anything else. And he leaves and tells Luthen this. And then Luthen immediately sends Vel and Cinta and is like, hey, I don't care what Cassian says. Go get him fucking ready. Like, we got we have a war to fight.
Yep.
We're going to do this. And Cassian was right.
Oh, yeah.
Cassian did call it. Because, like, Vel and Cinta are like, okay, let's train them. Let's get them ready. Let's do this. We're not going to use any weapons. We're just going to hit this. Here's how we're going to hit it.
You follow orders. Like, you need to follow orders. We're not going to get anywhere if you don't follow orders.
And then they pull off the heist after practicing a little bit and walking through the plan. And, like, Cyril's watching them because he got a promotion to, like, go be the head of the audit facility at Gorman.
Yep.
And he's like... And
the
I love
Bureau of Standards field office in Gorman?
Yeah.
Right, sir? Okay.
But it was a promotion. And my favorite is his mom is constantly watching Fox News.
Yep.
And he's like, yeah, I'm here, Mom. You need to stop watching Fox News. I don't know. You can never trust them. Mom, I'm literally standing right here.
Don't listen to propaganda, kids.
I've never seen that. And it's like, blah, 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 blah. And it's just like it's, talking to your parents who watch Fox News.
Yep.
Like, that's not at all what it's like. And they're like, but it says so, and Fox is trustworthy. And it's like, I don't think so, but, you do you.
Media literacy, everybody. Yep. Media literacy is important.
And then, rightfully so, as we get in any of those conversations with our parents, start talking about Fox News. I'm sorry, I'm at work. I got to go. Click.
Yep.
Which I thought was one of the most real moments. Like, as somebody, like...
We've all been on that call.
Yeah, like, it's like talking to my parents. I was watching... I had tunnel click. All right, we're out. Okay.
I'm sorry, Mom. I really got to get back to work.
Yeah.
Busy.
It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You called. It's work. But they go out and perform the heist, and it's going well. It's going better than the heist did in the first season, which was in Aldhani, really, really well.
Yeah, because everything with Aldhani went fucking wrong quick. It went so sideways.
And then the one Frenchman came out who was very hard in. We need to resist. It's like, what are you guys doing? Why wasn't I included? Like, talking in that. And the dumb fucking kid pulls out a blaster.
The blaster that they explicitly said no weapons. The only people who have weapons were Vel and Cinta, and he did not listen. And
a shot goes off right when Cinta is going to go pick up the EMP charges and kills her.
Yep.
And it was a needless death that, like, should not have happened. Mm-hmm. And it was one of those things where it was so random too. It did not feel like it had to happen. And it was at the same time, I'm like, well, Vel, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that happiness. Cinta was going to give her life. Like, she was always going to die no matter what. But I'm watching it, I'm like, that was so well done. Mm-hmm. Because it's the first time, like, that kid's, like, having a breakdown, and I was like, don't you fucking do that. You will never do what she has done. Because she's done it alone, and you're doing it with fucking friends. Like, and it just, like, lays into, don't fucking start crying. Don't you be a sniveling bitch. And it's just like she's doing it from the point of, I literally now only have the rebellion.
Yep.
You took away my when this is over. Mm-hmm. And now I'm going to make you fucking regret it.
You're going to carry her with you wherever you go for the rest of your life. Like, cool. And it's funny throughout the Gorman arc seeing Cyril operate in the dark like he is, because he had been led to believe this entire time that they were looking for some outside party.
Agitators.
Yeah, the outside agitators, some outside party that was doing this. When in reality, the entire time the Emperor, the Empire, they just needed the planet. They needed the planet's resources. They needed to take care of the situation, find a good cover story, and then just go, just move on. So Cyril, like, just seeing Cyril think like he's just doing a great job. It's like, man, like, these guys are, like, they're done for. Like, we're gonna get the outside people causing all this havoc, and it's like, boom, mission solved.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, while the stuff is going on in Gorman, you also have Cassian and Bix back on Coruscant in that nice little apartment.
That it actually has a view.
Yeah, nice place. And we get to see Bix on her journey to healing, is what I'm going to say. Because you see her, after everything that happened on Mina Rao, she's just like, she's having night terrors. She's just in a bad way. She's not sleeping well. Everywhere she goes, it's just Dr. Gorst.
Yeah.
And so you see her battle substance abuse, which I'm not exactly sure what she was taking.
Not death sticks.
Not death sticks. And it wasn't spice or anything like that. 'Cause I'm pretty sure you can't just buy spice at some, like corner market like she did. Some sort of...
It was like some sort of extract that would like knock her out.
Yeah.
And I like when Luthen comes to see her and goes, by the way, the dreams come back worse when you stop taking it. And it's just like, okay, so Luthen's dealt with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Luthen's an addict.
Well, I'd say was.
You're always an addict.
Hey.
Hi.
Don't talk about me like that. No.
Hi, I've used Adderall in the military and cocaine. What else would you like? I will always be an addict. I have, this is just how I replaced it. Except I'm down to one of that.
It's always a bigger fish. Yeah, I like that a lot. Just from there were a lot of instances in Andor where the real world application's right there.
Mm-hmm.
That was another, I think, really well done portion of this second season. I love that we really see Luthen let it loose in the second season, where he talks about, you said that in Rogue One, Cassian's like, oh, we've all done terrible things for the rebellion, but not, you're right, not really Cassian that we know of for the most part.
Yeah.
It's if Luthen had that conversation, it would be absolutely Luthen. You see a lot more of that in the second season. There's just so much. I feel like we almost should have broken this up into parts. Because there's so much I want to talk about with Andor.
Dude, I have nowhere to be. We do a 3-hour podcast. We do a 3-hour podcast.
There were so many moments as we're leading up to what would become the Gorman massacre.
Mm-hmm.
Even within the time jumps, it's hard for me to wrap my brain around them, the writers of Andor, getting so much done in a 12 episode slate with the time jumps.
Mm-hmm.
That I just can't, it's hard for me to even process it. They go from 0 to 6,000.
This one does go so much faster to me than any of the other ones. And sorry, I'm trying to figure out real quick is because you're right, watching Cyril try to be and because when you watch him watching the heist happen, he's like, okay, it's going down, and they're like, okay, man, cool, just stay where you're at, and they're they already know what's gonna happen. They know it's gonna go the way that they want it, but it's one of those things where it's I'm okay, and we're just and we're just doing, and it's cool. Okay, man, you're good. You're cool. Yep.
That really showcases his character, how desperately he wants to be a part of something greater than himself.
Yeah.
And to have that glory and to go on these adventures and yada 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 yada. And then when he gets there, he's freaking out. It's he's just. Yeah, he was an a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
store watching it go down. And
it was so good. And one of the other things I want to talk about too, is that we're gonna jump around because, after that happens, the Gorman. The whole reason they're doing this is because Tarkin wanted to. They have a monument in the square for when Tarkin wanted to land. I think during the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I can't. I didn't go back and look for the Tarkin massacre.
Mhm.
Like I can't. It was either right at the start of the Empire or during or like toward at the very end of the Republic. But no, it's just Tarkin being a dick, basically.
Yeah.
Which, spoiler alert, he does a lot. Tarkin's like one of the guys you just want to punch in the face. Just deck him.
He really is. And so I was just looking at that. No, it's like right at the start of the Empire.
Okay.
Because he's like, I want to land my ship and I'm gonna do it. And people are like, and like they don't. So they build a monument there. And then the Empire's like, we're gonna build an armory, which they talked about. Like we were already gonna build it. So we're gonna strip mine this planet.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna build an armory right there, and it's gonna overshadow
town
and look down on it, just like they did everywhere else. And that's what really gets the people up in arms. And the massacre is there's a protest that's going to go happen, and everyone's going to go peacefully protest this thing, except the Empire starts bringing in other troops and like riot police.
Yep.
And the father who like Cassian goes to meet all of a sudden has this realization of this is what they want. We need to stop. And everyone's like, no, we can't stop. Gorman needs to be heard. And he's like, no, you don't understand what's going to happen. They want us to act this way. We can't do it. Like we are going to be wiped out.
Yep. But by then it's already too late, dude.
And everyone's marching out there, and Cassian comes back. And I love the hotel sequences. Because the first one, the guy carries his bag upstairs, and he's like, that's the sky. And like the second time he comes in, he goes like mid-rim, and the guy sits there and goes, hey, you need to carry your bags this time. And he just like looks at him wide-eyed, and he goes, by the way, you have to like 11 o'clock when they check you in, because that's when we have to report the staff.
Yeah.
Like I'm giving, like he's like, I know who you are, and here's your time frame, Cassian.
Yeah.
This is how long it has to happen.
Also, shout out to that guy for getting a promotion during the time jump.
Yeah, from like bellhop to service.
Yeah,
but it's also like
he's a front desk guy now. He's a big time.
He's a big time, but Cassian is in there, and it's so we get this, and he's there to kill Deidre because they're like, oh, she's trying to hunt Luthen, and he goes, fine, Luthen. This is the last mission I'm going to do for you again.
Yep.
And I think that's my issue is like, because Clea is constantly like, and you said last time was the last mission, the time before that. And I'm like, I think we needed a couple of those.
Yeah.
And that's the only reason I think we needed a third season. I think Gorman could have been its own season.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the only like pacing issue I have is like, I think it was more needed to see the missions that Cassian's like, hey, we're not doing this. I got Bix. I got all these things to think about. But, yeah, and then all of a sudden, all hell breaks loose. And can we talk about the transition of like, there was like a great scene of Cassian like walking up in like right before the Gorman massacre, like to try to get a lay of the land where he's gonna get a shot, and Cyril walking down.
Yeah.
And like Cassian turns away and Cyril turns around, and the focus shifts and follows one from the other.
Yep.
And it's like, oh, and it's like, just turn and look and you would see him. I think Nicole said, just turn and look, Cassian, and you would see him. And just turn and look, Cyril, and you'd see Cassian, and you'd be there. Can we talk about that payoff?
Can we talk about just how beautifully that entire sequence was shot? Yeah. It was amazing. But what really drew my attention in the moments leading up to the Gorman massacre is that you had this angry mob, and he was a representative, like a councilman, the father, part of the Gorman resistance.
Yeah, he was like a community leader.
Yeah,
he was a well-respected person, and then a community leader. Yes.
You had also, sorry, I forgot the fact that Woolman was present there for a second. That man just stays getting. That man. Woolman, yeah, farmer's daughter. Well, I mean, Will's his nickname, but Willman's like his full name.
Oh, Willman, Will.
Yeah.
Okay, fucking Will. I'm sorry.
That man he has game. It's like every place
he nailed it. He nailed her daughter too.
Yeah, I was gonna say everywhere this man goes, he's getting played.
He might have gotten Saw.
Yeah,
they had a moment.
They had a moment with the gas. Oh, we didn't even talk about.
We'll go back to that. Yeah,
we'll go back to it. But in the moments leading up to the Gorman massacre, you have like this really angry, agitated crowd, and they're shouting and everything, and then that tough Gorman man who was like who indirectly was like the catalyst for Cinta dying, starts
singing the Gorman anthem.
Is it the Gorman anthem?
I think that's what's supposed to be. Yeah.
And so like everybody else joins in, and so like the crowd calms down, and it's just like a beautiful show of like this is who we are. You know, you can't take this from us. Like, we are our own people. We are our own culture. Like, this is like Gorman is here to stay, and it's like a really touching moment.
Yeah,
and you can just see the Imperials like, oh god damn it.
Yeah, the guys who are on the ground like fuck, like this is not going to look good for us no matter what.
Yeah, you're like we need you guys to be angrier. And so that's when they like start getting the cadets and everything together, which fucking Empire, awful.
Yeah,
they love themselves their little cannon fodder.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, yeah, just send these guys out with the riot shields out into the angry crowd.
And I like that they didn't send stormtroopers out, because stormtroopers at this point are more elite.
Yeah,
they are your like rank and file soldiers that are going to do things. And
they're still who you send out into combat zones.
Yes,
and this is not a combat zone.
Yet.
Sorry. All of the realizations occurring with the lead up to the Gorman massacre is part of just the overall masterful suspense building that Andor continued to do within throughout its second season that had me on the edge of my seat. And that sense of dread. Oh god, it was awful. Because you're just sitting there. That sequence before everything goes to shit lasted for what felt like hours.
It did.
Because you know it's not ending well. And you know it's going to blow up. And you know everything's going to go crazy. But you're still sitting there. You're just like, oh, the waiting. The insufferable waiting. Somebody do it already. Please.
And I like that you're right. It's peaceful. And I was honestly expecting it to be Bill Burr. But you see the sniper up there. And just killed one of the guys.
Yep.
And it's like, oh shit, shots fired. Now it breaks.
Mm-hmm. And I love Cyril coming to that conclusion that this entire time there was nobody outside and that he'd just been played.
Yeah.
And then that's where we get the scene with Deidre. Cyril went off the fucking... Oh my god, he went insane.
So Cyril finally figures out, like, hey, what's going on here? There's an armada out there, and like grabs her by the throat and does the violent, like, I will break your neck if you fucking lie to me again. Don't tell me that it's just rumors. I can literally fucking see it.
Yep.
And I do love the fact that Deidre's like, you weren't complaining when you kept getting promotions.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we can go back, we can be heroes. You weren't complaining when we were getting promotions.
Yep.
And it's like...
And I think that shows the break between those two. Where it's like, Deidre's more evil than he is.
Yes.
In the grand scheme of things, Deidre's willing to do genocide. You know, she's willing to kill off all the Gormans. She doesn't like it. She doesn't like what she's doing, but she's doing it. You know, she
this is my job. I said I wanted to do it. We're gonna do it.
Yeah, she can swallow it. Cyril, on the other hand,
cannot.
No. I can't believe the fact that he even got out of the building in the first place. By the way.
Yes.
They put him into that room with the KX droids.
Yep.
The one's just staring at him. That was totally K2, by the way.
That was K2.
Or who would become K2.
That is who like, it's like, oh, that's the one assigned to Cyril.
Yeah.
And he's like, you're going to be fucking stupid, and I'm going to go get your ass.
Yeah. And so, yeah, they send out those poor cadets with their riot gear. You know, shit hits the fan once the sniper shots go out, and then it's just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute chaos. Here come the stormtroopers. You know, it's just... Your lambs to a slaughter is what the Gorman massacre is. which is why it's a massacre.
Yeah.
The chaos in which we see all of the characters operating in is really amazing. Just in terms, I mean, Will and Cassian being split up, like shots are firing, going out everywhere.
They're handling it. This is not their first or second time.
No, they're still trying. They're sticking to the mission. They're trying. Cassian's still trying to get the shot on Deidre, and then that's where Cyril comes in out of nowhere. Rage, man. Rage is a powerful, powerful emotion.
Cold cocks Cassian.
Yeah.
Ends up like whooping his ass.
Oh man, he was
like, and Cassian's fighting dirty, and I'm like, but Cassian, I'm like, you're probably also more fit. You've been fighting a lot more recently.
Yeah.
Like, even though you're wounded and stuff, like, and that was my thing. Like, sure, Cyril was in the ROTC, I guess.
Yeah.
But like, he's not a soldier. Cassian's been a soldier and a killer, perceivably. And it's like, yeah, he's got him. He hits him in the head. He rocks a little bit, slight concussion. And I'm just like, I was not expecting Cyril to like win.
Oh, I did 100%. You know why?
Why?
Because the entire time, all of season 1, Cyril was looking for Cassian because he murdered his two, those two corporate guys. Like those were probably, maybe not his friends, but like those were his coworkers.
Yeah,
like those were his guys. And he's the whole reason like he lost that job in the first place, and he was obsessed with finding Cassian in the first season, and which is why he was obsessed with finding Cassian, and then Deidre was obsessed with finding Axis, which was Luthen.
Yeah.
So Cassian had been waiting for this moment for so long, and he also had the rage of like the Empire.
Cyril did.
Yeah. And Cyril had the just like that rage of being lied to for his entire purpose and his mission here. So like those two things coinciding, and then all of a sudden like he's in a rage, he's pissed off, and then you go into the crowd and you see the guy that you were fixated
there
on
is the outside agitator right there.
Yeah.
So, and this is my other criticism, which is going to fall in line with the same one for that is it wasn't a good show don't tell moment. And when we talk about towards the end here, when we talk about the Perrin video I sent you, and you can call me and talk about it after you watch it. It's great. But like, at no point do I ever feel like Cyril is capable of anything. Like my wife going like, he's going to be violent. That's how they are. They're going to be violent. He's still going to be strong. But like, he's not like going to Deidre like, I find him, I want to kill him. And she's not like, oh hey, let's go to the gym. Like let's train you. Let's give us something that show that like they do some sort of physical anything.
Well, I mean, he was back in his days as a corporate security officer. Like you'd assume there was like PT and stuff like that.
Yeah,
too.
but
so,
like,
I mean,
but now but is he keeping up with that? Like if they would have shown him,
I mean, he looks fit.
He looks thin.
I didn't think he looked all that thin.
I think he
looked
looked
a very chiseled like jawline.
Yeah, so he's got a high
something I do not have.
Yeah, I don't have a chiseled jawline either. But I feel like if I wanted to like pick him up and break him over, if I wanted to Batman him, I think I literally could have.
Yeah.
Like he didn't feel like he looked thin. Like maybe he runs. Okay, cool. You've got some cardio, man. But like, do you know how to throw a proper punch?
And the battle.
And rage is one of those things like people go like, I see red. But it's like, cool. If you see red, that means you just like blindly swing in haymakers, and any person who's done a fight before will stomp you into the ground. You might get a lucky shot off, but you're going to telegraph your moves. And it's one of those things when you're taught about it, it makes sense. Well, and I personally don't, like, other than sucker punching Cassian, if Cassian would have looked a little bit more concussed longer, I would have been like, oh, okay, you got the lucky hit there.
Well, that's the thing, though, is that you need to also take into account the setting. Like, Cassian has no idea anybody's even knows him there, or is that like he's just focused on getting the shot of Deidre? Yeah. Like that's all he's focused on. So like, could you imagine if you were like on a ridge or something, like waiting for your target to come back out, and then all of a sudden you just get like, like you're not expecting. Like that's way more than a wake up call.
It was.
So that's maybe they didn't show him concussed enough.
I would have liked to have seen him like rocked a little bit more. Like when the one guard or when Bix fucked over the one lieutenant.
Oh yeah.
And like it's like just that. Like he's like
he took it like a bitch, by the way.
Huh?
So he took it like a bitch, by the way.
He was bleeding. Like he was that is some hemorrhaging there that he's not going to be okay. Yeah, he is not going to be okay. But then it's just the fact that Cassian like looks at him and is just like, who are you?
Yeah.
And you barely see it register on Cyril's face, and then the bolt hits him in the side of the head. And I was like, whoa. He doesn't live long enough to be like, and you don't even know who I fucking am? Like, he's just, like, everyone kept doing the scene from, you took everything from me with fucking Thanos and, whatever her name was.
I don't even know who you are.
Yeah, and it's just like, and then it's the father who's like, we trusted you and you betrayed us. And he's trying to tell the father, like, I didn't. I thought it was this. This is what I was looking for.
He didn't get to explain himself. Yeah.
And it just that just there goes Cyril's story.
Mm-hmm.
And like now his mom's gonna be full on Empire supporter for the rest of her life.
Because she believed all the propaganda.
She believed all the propaganda.
Damn Gormans.
And now she can go speak to it, be like, my son was there. He was just doing this, and the Gormans attacked him in cold blood, and and it played out so well. And then I'm just sitting there watching all that happen, and I was like, oh wow, we get a payoff. Cyril gets no payoff. Nope. And Cassian is still like, Cassian doesn't get the payoff. He's like, I have other things to worry about, I guess.
He's like, so anyways.
That was weird.
Yeah, no, like literally.
It's just that's and then we get to go to the and then after that we he dies, and Cassian's like, okay, we need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. And
Will's like, I need to stay with them and find the girl.
That's when I was like, fucking Will, god damn it. At least Cassian at that point was like, all right, this man gotta go get some again.
Yeah, I was like, you are the fucking problem, sir.
Yeah. This man fucking. He's
and of course, the one guy who I think killed Cinta, is the one that saves Cassian when he's about to get destroyed by the KC unit. And
when they come out, oh my, that is. Oh.
I know you've seen Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. When you put on a hard difficulty and you run into
a KX droid,
the first couple KX, you run into one and you'll fight it, you can parry it, but it's still a menace.
Yeah.
And then it's oh hey, you got a couple of the force powers. Then it's fight two of them, and one of them will do the unblockable while the other one's blocking you, and you're like, okay, I need to get out of here somehow. And then the second it's by the way, you have all your powers now, it immediately goes to walk into a room. There's 9 of them.
Yeah. Fight
them. And it's one of those things where when you see that how hard they backhand you, and it's 2 hits.
Oh, they're backhand. They are.
And it was when you saw the KX unit, because at one point someone gets slammed by it, and my wife, this place goes, that wouldn't have killed them.
So okay, no, we had this exact conversation too, because it was the representative's daughter, who I can't remember the name of. She gets thrown.
Yeah, but she lands so gracefully almost.
Yeah, and I was exactly like Mrs. Smith. I was like, I feel like she's not dead. Maybe she's that's maybe paralyzed, a couple things broken, but not dead. No, she was dead.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Anna was no, do you see the force that she's being thrown at? No.
That's not the force, because then the next scene, someone goes into a wall and goes, you're no, there's no force.
Yeah.
That's the force.
Yeah, that was just the Empire Unleashing cheat codes right there.
They were not
playing fair. Oh,
it was so well done.
Yeah, Cassian getting out of there. I love that that's the story that they end up going with for K2, is that he just got split in half, and Cassian's like, how can I make it up to the rebellion for me going on this unsanctioned mission?
Yeah,
they've been looking for a KX droid.
Let's just grab one of those. Yeah. So there's this thing that happens in in Rogue One where when K2 gets there and Cassian goes, they're a little weird with the programming, we haven't quite figured out the Imperial stuff to it. And so they're a little like psychotic, I guess is the best way to put it.
It's a side effect of the reprogramming, yeah.
Of the reprogramming. One, I was hoping he was going to go back and get B2. And that's how we were going to get K2 or KC, was because he was going to take that droid and put the droid's memory
and into K2.
In K2 and be like, that's how we reprogrammed it, but he still has like a little tweak in there.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of, and it wasn't that way. And I was and like I'm watching like K2 like be like sarcastic, but I'm like, I don't feel like you're as dark as you are in Rogue One. But one, Alan Tudyk. Can we just talk about? I'm so glad that like they were like, oh no, we brought back his vest. Mm-hmm. He had to wear it all again, because when he's like sitting in like later on, he's like sitting in the ship, and he's like, and they're not listening, and he just slumps down like this into the ship. I'm just like Alan is so goddamn good at his job, and it was great to see Alan Tudyk just be himself when they brought K2 into it. That's jumping ahead, but yeah, no, I love how they bring K2 in, and he's like, oh, by the way, I brought a KX droid. I'm gonna go to my quarters because you're gonna lock me there, and don't forget to reprogram the K2 droid.
We also get around, like, at the same time this is happening too, I'm pretty sure he was introduced around then, we get a recast of Bail Organa. I'm not sure of the actor's name.
Okay, that wasn't the original Bail Organa.
No, it was Jimmy Smits. And it confused me a lot because Jimmy reprised his role in Rogue One. So I'm wondering, like, is he just too old now? That really threw, like, I was sitting there. One, let me just say, whoever, I don't know the name of the actor who did the recast, loved his performance. Did great. I thought he did a great job as Bail. But it just threw me off so much. I was like, man, you guys brought back like everybody. Is Bail, or like, is Jimmy Smits just too old to do it at this point?
Yeah, it was Benjamin Bratt who played him, I think, and he was played by Phil LaMarr in the Clone Wars? Huh.
Yeah, the voice? Yeah. But it was Jimmy Smits that played him in the movies, right?
Yeah, and he played him in Kenobi.
Yeah, because he was... So, yeah, I don't know. I haven't read into it. I meant to look into it as to why Jimmy Smits didn't do it. Like, could they not afford him? Did he have other conflicts? The recast was just really, really weird to me.
Yeah, I didn't think it was right. And I know that he, like, lost a ton of weight to do, like, some Doctor Strange stuff back in the day, because he was, like, a character in Doctor Strange that's, like... And, like, there are a couple times I'm like, okay, and then he's bigger for this one. I didn't think he looked right, because it's weird that Bail Organa now goes from, like, looking younger to older to younger.
Yeah.
Based on, like, when we're seeing him, considering, like, Kenobi's, I think, Kenobi's really early in this, actually. Kenobi's well before this. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know.
I thought the recast did a really good job of playing him, though. I hated to see Bail. Like, here you have Andor, like, putting it on the line and doing things the way that Luthen does it, which is cutthroat, but you have to. Like,
yeah.
I hated seeing Bail as, like, the bad guy in the situation, because once Cassian gets back to Gorman, he gets grounded. He had to go to his room, which is really funny too. Also, the fact that
that was after this, because
he has
to go rescue Mon Mothma.
He still got in trouble.
Yeah, he still broke orders and, like, did this really like dumb thing, and they're like, you now need to choose, like, are you with the rebellion or are you with Luthen?
Yeah.
And that was really good. The arc, so to talk about the last arc, which is one, rescuing Mon Mothma, mm-hmm. and then Luthen's backstory, as well as, like,
actually, the rescuing Mon Mothma, that came at the
end of the Gorman arc.
Yeah.
But then it was like Clea and Luthen's entire thing.
They didn't have to give us that. I'm so glad they did.
I'm so glad they did too, because I wanted to know, like, you want to know why Clea's like kind of loyal to him, and it was so well done.
And I'm sure you've seen this. Do you know that was the actress who plays Clea? That was her first acting credit, like her first role.
Good for her. She
like
crushed it.
Yeah, straight out of drama school, and then boom.
Yeah, she crushed it.
Yeah,
but that's also like that's how Star Wars does.
So many.
So well, because they take no-name actors, and
yeah, because I think
Harrison Ford and
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness were the only two like known characters.
Nah, Peter Cushing, but I mean he was old at that point. Like he's really old at that point.
Who's Peter Cushing?
Played Grand Moff Tarkin.
Oh yeah, yeah, he was a lot older, and like I guess James Earl Jones, but he was a voice that was cast later.
Mm-hmm.
Like nobody else was known, and so like to honestly see that, because like even like I didn't know anything Daisy Ridley did before she was Rey.
Yeah,
I didn't mind her as Rey. Like I know people had a problem with her as Mary Sue. Congratulations, you should have a fucking problem with Luke Skywalker too. I feel like the original movies get such a pass, and the later movies don't get that same pass.
Mm-hmm.
We don't need to go into that right now, but yeah, so one. Andor gets called by Luthen to go rescue. Like, when you get Mon Mothma out of there, she's going to give a speech, and then she needs to go. And Bail Organa's like, "Hey, I got people." And it kind of tied me in, because Bail Organa's like, "I got people." It's like, "Do you know them personally?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "No, I can't know everyone personally. It's gotten too big." And I'm like, "Oh, these weren't vetted by Ahsoka either." Mm-hmm. So like Fulcrum doesn't even know what's going on with these people.
Yeah.
That's how big we're saying it's gotten now, and how like segmented and fractured that it is. And when the ISB agent like comes in, they start talking. It's like, "Go here, we do this." It's like, "Have you guys met before?" And they're like, "No." Like, "Okay, you guys go do this, you go do that." And the one woman who becomes an ISB agent, her cheekbones and her face, I thought she was like the secret ISB agent that showed up in The Mandalorian. Like, do you remember when they're like they're like all the people that are prior to the Empire are sitting around talking? It's the one doctor, and she's like, "What do you like about the Empire?" And he's like, "Oh, I like the yellow cakes. You know, the little space cakes."
Yeah.
And then she like kills him at the end. I thought that was her, and I was like, "Oh my god, are you gonna make your debut here as like this ISB officer and like having to like kill one?" I was like, that'd have been so cool.
I didn't like her character, by the way.
I did not like her character, but she was a really good like. I was like, "Oh, you were an underhanded snake," and I loved her. Yeah. She's not meant
for me personally, but anyway,
that's fine. But I thought that's who it was going to be, and she wasn't. So Mon Mothma gives her speech because two other senior senators yield the floor.
Under like a. There was no way she should have been allowed to speak, and like the Empire made sure of that.
Yes.
But then Bail's like, "Well, under this little technicality that we passed under the Empire's legislation, I can technically do this."
So, and this is one other spot that I was hoping for a cameo, and I didn't realize how much it bothered me until it wasn't there. The original person speaking is like some real no-name senator, and then cedes it to Bail Organa, and then Bail Organa cedes it. Or like Bail Organa does it and cedes it to another one who cedes it to that. I was hoping it was gonna be like Senator Tucci.
Oh yeah, me too.
And it's not. I'm like, I don't know who you are.
I was also hoping for Masamita at some point. I don't know his actual title, but he's Palp's right-hand man.
The blue guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes away at some point.
He was up, as far as I know, was there all the way through the original trilogy too. Yeah.
Like when I guess until it was disbanded.
I mean, he was loyal to Palpatine.
He was.
He was like I don't know if he knew the extent of like the whole. No, he had to have.
Yeah.
That man was he was in it for the power.
He was there.
That man was a Palp's lifer.
But yeah, and then it gets to the, of course we get to see like she gives the speech. The speech is great. And everyone's like, "That's political." And I'm like, "No, guys, this is history repeating itself."
And as it was, the speech was great. What was even better was seeing the ISB fuck up trying to get it turned off.
Just cut the fucking power to the building.
Yeah.
I don't care. flip the main breaker. Which, fun fact, I bet that place would have generators. You'd have to flip many breakers.
It does have generators.
You'd have to flip so many breakers.
There's a Clone Wars episode where...
That's right, yeah.
Cad Bane did that.
Yeah, I just also do the breakers. Yeah, you'd have to, like... Oh, it's so good. And then I do love the, like... Are you alone? I have friends everywhere. And just, like, Cassian being, like... Mon Mothma, she's like, I'm not talking, like, jumped on this. Like, I have friends everywhere. We need to get you out of here. And that escape sequence... Probably my favorite episode of the series. Or of this season was like so well done.
And again, another like I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Again, I'm like, oh god, because again suspense. Just Andor should be winning Emmys this award season. I don't talk about awards a lot because I'm like, I like what I like.
Yeah,
but this is. I don't even care the fact that it's a Star Wars show. Like this is just some of the best television out there.
It's really good television.
Yeah. I mean, it's masterfully done. But yeah, that escape sequence, it's...
Gets stopped by the ISB officer, and he does the same trick twice, and it works. He's like, the ISB officer, stop, she's a rebel spy. And she's like, what? And then, like, shoots her, and, like, they walk away. I was like, this is so good.
Him getting in... It was crazy how rough he looked going into the Senate building. Mm-hmm. He was, like, getting his credentials and everything. He's like, I'm straight from Gorman. Like, what do you want me? Like, what do you want me to do? I look rough, you know.
Just like I was at Gorman, I was covering that, and the guy's just like, I don't like.
All right, like go, like you'll have to float. You don't get a dedicated place to watch the speech. But yeah, when Mon Mothma gets out of there, and like he's as the guy's a reporter, so obviously she's like, I'm not gonna give any comments at this time. Like I'm out. Like stop bothering me.
Yeah,
but like when they reach Bail Organa's team and like the undercover ISB agent just you could see everything playing out in Mon Mothma's head where that conversation that her and Luthen had about like, hey, you can't trust Bail Organa's team. Like it's compromised. You just got to trust me. And Mon Mothma was like, no, I can't. Like I can't trust you on that. Like it's Bail.
Yeah.
But then like everything's like it's happening. It's happening right in front of her, and she's just mortified.
And then she finds out like her secretary. By the way, I've been on the pay from Luthen this entire time. I've wanted to tell you forever, and I haven't. And he goes and talks to Luthen, and Luthen's like, well, you need to convince her. Yeah, she's really not fucking talking to me right now, Luthen.
She fired me.
Like, just you can't. Yeah, it was so good. And then it's like, is that your driver? Yes. What's his name? This. Yeah, I got her. Like yells at her name, and he's like, what? And then just like, what? It was the same trick twice. And it's good. And then they do the getaway. And I do like how they just casually walk out the side of the building, and they can't get found.
Yep.
And it's like, because you can't lock down the building while the power's cut. People are trying to leave because now there's been a shooting in here, and like you got senders, so you can't. It was such a good sequence, and like the fact she's like, I don't believe you, I don't know. And he's like, I was at Gorman, like the blood on me is from fucking Gorman. I was just there.
Yep.
You need to get out of here. We need to get you to Yavin. Your career is done.
Once they get away from the Senate building, they go back to that nice little luxury apartment.
Yeah.
Not luxury, but it's nice. It's cool.
It is a nicer apartment. It's a nice as safe houses go.
Yeah. Seeing her there really just made it real for me. Like, just the Mon Mothma that we got to see throughout the entirety of Andor, like
she's done.
Yep.
That character's dead.
We're getting Rebel leader Mon Mothma here. Just sorry, we're getting up to the finale of Andor.
Yeah.
And I'm getting goosebumps.
And there are a couple other like little theories I think we could talk about in between all of that. Yeah, so and like now they get him away, the KX droid's taken back, And then we hit the last 3, which is like a
Oh,
year.
no, not yet.
Oh, okay, what else?
We're missing one last thing where it's like Andor, or Cassie, he finally gets back to Yavin, to Bix.
And he's like, we can just leave and go away together.
Mm-hmm. And she's like, yep.
Yeah.
They go to sleep. I'm pretty sure Bix had to like drug him slightly for her to like get out of there in one piece.
Think so.
You don't think so? You think he finally just got the?
I think he got there.
He got it on, and it was like,
not even that, but like Mrs. Play will tell you, like, I lay down next to her, I'm out, because it's like I feel safe. I know nothing. Like there's nothing wrong.
Yeah.
And I will just be out, and I will be out hard. And like Mrs. Play is constantly like, bothers the piss out of me. But it's like I've got a lifetime of like not always feeling as secure, safe as I should.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I have my own place, and I do,
you're out.
Like my body just goes, you need this.
Yeah.
Like I got back from basic, I got back from like AIT, I got back from anything else, like any other things. And if I slept next to her, I was just out. Like sexy time or no sexy time, I was just like, my body would go, okay, relax, you can breathe, you're out. So
Topical word.
yeah, I think he is. I think for him it was like, no, I have everything is saturated. I'm here. I don't have the energy to have this conversation with her. They lay down to go to sleep together,
mm-hmm.
and he does.
Man, I was happy. I was happy because Bix having the courage to leave and choose the rebellion for the both of them. I was so relieved because I was like, all right, she's making it out. Because at that point I was like, everybody else here is going to die at some point unless you're going to die in Rogue One.
Yeah,
but you're going to die. So I was like, all right, Bix, if there's any character out of the entire show that deserves to make it out in one piece, it was her.
Yes.
But hearing her, in her message, talk about like they'll find each other after all of this is done, my heart sunk. I was like, there's not going to be an after for him.
Yes.
And I was just like, no, please.
But now I like the fact that like he and Jinder show at the very end, like he holds her to like comfort her because like he watches the end come. Mm-hmm. He watches the sunrise or the sunset. He will never see.
He was turned away.
He was.
It was Jin watching it.
Was it Jin watching it? But he was like holding her, like, and it was just one of those things where it was
because it was the sunrise that he would never.
Yeah,
it's just like Luthen.
It's what he would
Some
never
hell
see.
Of a sunrise. Courtesy of the Death Star.
Yeah.
So I think if when he has that talk about how he's done awful things in the name of the rebellion, if I had to guess, the awful things that he did was in between Bix leaving and the start of the last arc.
Yes.
Probably, man. Because I mean, like, you lose the love of.
Yeah.
Like, you were so ready to call it quits on all of this, and then all of a sudden, like, the love of your life's gone, makes the decision for you.
And even before that, before like Bix gets there, they do go to the place on Coruscant because that's how they decide to leave Coruscant, and they kill the doctor that.
Oh yeah, that was I forgot to mention that, but like when you talk about healing, there's a lot of ways to heal, but that one's you want to not have nightmares about somebody.
Hey, here you go, man. So there was a point in it though where like he comes in and eats his food, and there were two ways I saw this going. Right, one, Bix was going to die, and I knew, and then the other one, Bix was going to live. It was not going to be at that scene, but if you notice, he puts down his little pastry and like goes in there, and like she gets in there and goes, "Hey, doctor," and like knocks him out, puts him in there, and everything else wakes him up. Turns it on and like walks away. If she would have sat down in the chair and watched him and ate the pastry, they were going to kill Bix.
Yep.
I was like, you would die because now you're a psychopath and you're like, I need to feel this. She does it to him and walks away, then they blow it up because it's like, I want the satisfaction of like, you got to feel what you did to me. You were going to die anyway. We're going to blow you up. And I was like, okay, she's going to live. Mm-hmm. And I was like, that was a very conscious choice of like, it's either she heals or she doesn't like overheal, but like she like goes off the other side of like vengeance. And it's like, ooh, you're in a dark path. Mm-hmm. One that Cassian cannot follow.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, then it launches into the final arc.
Yes.
Where 1 year later, we get some of the most plain cinematography, but also amazing at the same time, because it opens up with Lonnie meeting Luthen in Coruscant, and you can see he's just so like he's fucking shaking it in his boots.
Yeah.
He's like, man, I need like this is big. This is bigger than anything. He's like, I need security. And when Lonnie and Luthen had in the context leading up to Luthen's amazing speech, what do you call it? Why am I blanking on the term?
Oh, his monologue?
Monologue, thank you.
In season 1 you're talking about. Okay.
That entire monologue is caused by the fact that Lonnie's like, I have two daughters at home, I have my wife. Like, I don't know if like I can't, like I'm sacrificing everything. Like, what are you sacrificing?
I just let me be an ISB government person and it'll be fine. Like, I won't bother you. I'll make like I won't do things for you. But like, I just need to live a normal life.
Yeah, and it's seeing him rattled like that. You're just wondering like, what does he know? You know, because like there's no way he can know something like that big. I love how well that entire scene was shot, because it's taken out of just like any other spy movie. You know, two people meeting in a park bench. That's all that was.
Yeah, very very like England when the spies used to meet and talk on the River Thames in England.
I love the hardball that they're both playing. You know, Lonnie's like, I need protection before I tell you this, and Luthen's like, just tell me what you're saying, and I need to I need to know that this is worth it for me to give you protection. And I'm like, who's going to crack first? It's Lonnie.
It's like Kyber Urso, or Jeddah Kyber Urso.
Mm-hmm. And I think Stardust was mentioned in it too, and like that message.
It was under like the file name Stardust.
Yeah. The way that Lonnie got this information was so crazy to me, because Lonnie's like, hey, I've actually had like this, you know, like Deidre's code cylinder for like a year now.
Yes.
And it's like, you know, the Emperor's energy program has been a lie this whole time. And, you know, it's like the dots are getting connected. Like did Lonnie say that the fact that like there was like it's a weapon?
Yeah, it's not what you think it is. It's a weapon, and that's what he's like freaking out about.
And it's big. Yeah. I was like, oh man, like that's crazy.
Because you go to Jeddah in Jedi Survivors.
Do you really?
Yes, it's the desert planet.
Oh, before. Okay, yeah. I was trying to think of like the timeline. I was like, no, Jeddah's like destroyed. Like the Holy City's destroyed. It's over, but not at that point. Yeah.
Yeah. You go there because I was like, why do I know that name? Because at first I thought they were talking about the temples on it from the first game that you constantly go back to like learn all the points, and then it's like, no, Jeddah is the desert planet that you go to in the second game where like everything gets revealed to you and the path got started and everything else.
Darth Vader in what's her name?
Yep.
Why am I blanking on her name?
Because you haven't played the game yet?
I haven't played it, but I've seen all of it.
Seer, yeah.
Yeah. They have their face off that was on Jeddah.
Seer learns force healing.
Let's not get into that right now. It's a sore spot for a certain Skywalker.
It's a sore spot for a lot of people. Qui-Gon Jinn.
Yeah.
I should have sent you that earlier today. Go ahead.
I was really hoping out of everybody, Lonnie was going to be one of the guys to like get out of this clean scathed, you know, like because I was thinking of his family and his daughters. I was like, come on, don't take their dear dad away from it. Seeing him slumped over on that park bench really set in motion the end game for me. I was like, oh man, like time's running out. Like I already knew time was running out because we were getting to the end of the series, but like time's running out, and Luthen and Clea should not have been on Coruscant that long, but they were cooking it.
Yes.
So they learn all this information. Like Lonnie has to bite the dust.
The poor Loth cat.
It was nice to see a Loth cat.
You know what? And we're gonna get Loth kittens in the next season of Ahsoka. We've got shit to look forward to.
The dynamic between Clea and Luthen. I knew Luthen was already going to die in this series because, like, he's not anywhere else. He already said himself he was dead.
He was not going to see the rebellion in what it was going to be.
Yeah, he was a dead man walking. But the second he's relaying this message to Clea, and it was like, let me handle the burn, like getting rid of everything, trying to make it off the planet. But like, I don't know what it was, like a metal substance that he pours on like the.
Oh, it almost looks like he takes like molten
some sort of
like aluminum or something like that was gonna like burn, and he was just gonna like do it over that so that way the metal would fry the So
and you couldn't trace anything.
Yeah, what he was doing is you have like two ways to destroy things. One, you can burn it. So for electricity, like he could have put like white phosphorus, but that doesn't stop burning.
Yeah,
and that's a massive problem. So like if you do like thermite or something like that, you need a way to smother it. And if you don't have a way to smother it, then the whole place just goes up. And if anything doesn't get touched by it, you can recreate it. But by putting molten metal over it, what it'll do is it'll cover the circuit boards. So if you're like, well, what's underneath of this? And you start cracking it up, you're going to get chunks of metal. You're going to break off things that you're not meaning to. Meaning they're going to destroy it by trying to uncover it.
Yeah.
He just didn't get to go as far along with it as he wanted to.
Because who's at the front door?
Someone who really likes art and the pieces and has walked by this shop many times and just always wanted to stop in.
Yep.
Deidre.
Seeing them, I was like, does she actually know? Or is she just chilling? But then I realized like 30 seconds in, I was like, oh no, she knows.
She knows.
I was like, oh, this is a setup.
I love the conversation. Anything in here fake? Right now, there are only two pieces in here that we're trying to figure out if they're real or fake. And you're like, oh shit, they both know that the other knows.
Yep. This was Deidre's moment in the sun. She was forcibly taken off of this assignment of finding Axis, but could not let it go because she was obsessed. That's what happens when you get obsessed with your work. If something gets handed off to a coworker that you don't like, you're like, they can't do it as good as I can.
This was literally her Icarus moment of, I will fly high. This is the peak of how high she will get.
Yep. Flew too close to the sun. And so like she has her, she like brings back the old Star Path unit that started everything. And she's like, it's a bit vintage. Because it's been, like many, many years at this point. That they
1, 2, 3. So 1 year later, 1 year later, 1 year later. So it's 3 years since the first season ended. And I think there's like 2 time jumps in the first season. So it's at least like 5 to 6 years.
At least.
Yeah.
It's been a while.
How long was he actually in the jail?
I don't know. Well, he was.
I thought it was like a year.
Might have been, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so yeah, there's like a year there. So yeah, there's a. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like she does the stupid villain thing. I've been waiting for this. I've been looking for you for so long. Whereas like Luthen, the second he opens the door, he's looking for the way out.
Yes.
Or the way out. In this case. So he's that Nautilin knife. I forget the importance of it itself. Like he said, like it's rare, yada yada yada. But so like Deidre's like, yeah, this building's surrounded, like you're done. And she's like telling him all of this while his back is turned with the knife in his hand, and he just gut shots himself. The second he turned, I was like, ah man, he's gonna kill himself. And so, like, you see Luthen start to bleed out, and Deidre's just panicking. She's like, everybody get in here. Oh, God. The single most important person that we could have interrogated, that could have given up the location of everything, and we could have crushed the rebellion right here and then. Oh, silly me. I wanted to have my gloating moment, and he died. Except he didn't die.
Yeah, he was...
They stabilized him enough.
Yeah.
To at least have a chance at resuscitating him.
Yeah, the real bummer with that blade is just created for this. There's no other...
I figured...
It's the Nautilin Bleeder. It's a ceremonial dagger for amphibious people.
Yeah.
That's it.
Which is still cool.
Well, I mean, they had the Sith armor sitting back there for fucking forever. So if they would pull out... This is an old Vibro blade.
Yeah.
The Vibro 2.
On the nose.
Yeah.
They... Seeing it from, like, party guys' standpoint, where it's like, there's a raid, it's gone bad, Deidre did this without, you know...
She did this again.
Yeah. Overstepped her authority. It's so funny to see the reaction to it, because you think that, like, she's going to get away with this and be able to fix it and stuff. But the ISB is like, no.
Yeah, party guys wants to see you. Like, you're... Or no, like, you need to be seen.
Yeah.
And it's not Partagas, and then you see her in the same interrogation room of Cyril, who kept looking into things too. And it's a mirror exactly of that.
Yeah. I almost forgot about that part too. It's really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, Luthen tries to kill himself. He gets stabilized enough to get to a local hospital. And Coruscanti hospitals are weird.
Yeah.
And all the while, like, Clea is seeing Luthen being taken away in this ambulance, and you're like, the look on her face that entire episode was just like a great acting job. But that's when we start to get, like, the backstory of everything between Luthen and Clea, where it's like, I like a good origin story. It was interesting to see how they tried to make a younger Luthen. Just acting-wise. They gave him, like, a buzz cut.
Yeah, he looked... And honestly, it was fine. He was supposed to be a sergeant, like, in a battle as an Imperial officer.
Just killing everybody.
Yeah, like, just wiping out people. And, like, he's having PTS. And like, he's drinking because he can't handle it. And he's on his ship. And it's just like... You know, and then you see a local kid
just hiding out in there
on the ship, and he's like, and that's when it's just like, that's what breaks him.
Yep. So you have the cutscenes of their origin story.
I call them cutscenes. Sorry, I mean, sorry about second. It was like the scenes.
So you have the scenes of the origin story cut with present time.
Yeah.
Where Clea has to finish the job and has to make sure that the Empire doesn't get the information from Luthen. And, like, you always knew they were, like, she was extremely loyal to him throughout the entire show, but you didn't know why.
Yeah.
And so, like, you're learning the why as she has to finish him off.
And she goes, "Am I like your daughter?" And, like, because it's like, okay, what is your relationship? He's like, "Am I like your daughter?" She's like, "Am I like your daughter?" And he's like, "When you need to be, but it won't always be that." And I was like, "Fuck, this poor kid."
Clea had to grow up so fast.
Yeah.
In one of those, yeah, after the bartering.
Yeah.
Luthen's, like, trying his hardest to get the money he needs, and then, like, Clea the kid just comes up like, "Come on. Lady, you're holding out."
Yeah, this person over there, that's a thief. I don't care. The money's good.
Yeah.
And it's just like, fuck, okay, I'll give you this much. Okay.
Yeah.
And then it's like, I'm hungry. And they go get food. But then, like, her seeing, like, what the Empire does, where it's just rounding up people. And then she stands there and watches it. And Luthen's like, I'm going to go. Mm-hmm. Like, this is, like...
Because Luthen's seen it 1,000 times before.
He's done it, more than likely.
Yeah.
But Clea watches it and goes, like, when do we start fighting? And Luthen goes, we are. we are playing the long game, which means we lose and lose and lose and lose until we are.
Oh, until we're ready.
Yeah, until we're ready, until we win. And it's like, yeah, when you don't know what's out there and you don't have anything yet, and you can only play the long game, like
you see everything.
Yeah.
Everything you're trying to stop. And you can't do anything about it yet. The long game sucks, but it's what you got to do.
And there was a really great scene where they go to Naboo.
Yeah.
And it was cool to see Naboo. But they're at a coffee shop.
Yeah.
And Luthen's like trying to get her to understand like
what she's about to do.
What not even what she's about to do, but like what they're actually doing. Like she's like, I'm gonna kill them all, and he goes, yes, but like if you're just yelling that at the top of your lungs, here's this, and he puts the thing. She's like, you don't think I won't do it? And she like grabs it, and he goes, no, I'll do it. And to me, it was it's not that you're not ready. Like I don't want you to kill somebody. You could read it that way, but I was like, no, she doesn't understand. Like he's like, look at me, boop. And she's like, and he goes, look at me. And the explosion happens. Now turn. And then they turn and look, and now we leave.
Mm-hmm.
Because if somebody saw us watching over there, and then they'd be like, that's a little weird. Why were you guys watching it so long? And then looked away. But if we look when everyone else looks, we know it's there. We know it's happening. We've seen it. We're watching it, but we're not looking until we make our move, and then we still have to get away.
And that really goes to show how they were able to work undercover for so long, because they spent their entire lives, at least most of Clea's life, but they were perfecting this through years and years and years and years, which is why they were able to hide in plain sight in the heart of the Empire, running an antique shop. And we didn't go over the scene, but one of the other scenes with Clea and Luthen is when Skolden is having one of the parties, I think post-wedding, and they had a listening device planted in his one of the pieces of art that they sold him.
Yes. It was the parties for the new senators. It wasn't the wedding. It was after the wedding, but yeah, it was the party for the senators, because they run into Bail Organa there, and he goes, "Oh yeah, we decided to divide and conquer this year. This is my last party.
Yeah.
Deuces, I'm out."
Again, another really great suspenseful scene. I loved the debate between Mon Mothma and Krennic.
Yes,
because whatever Krennic was on the stand for, that he got away with some atrocity that he committed. I don't know.
Yeah, one of many. Go ahead.
Yeah,
him and Tarkin. Go ahead. Pick one.
Just pick it. All the while, Lonnie and Clea, you can see how uncomfortable Lonnie is in this whole situation. Who's in this room right now? This is way above my pay grade. You're gonna get us all caught. You got to see what Clea was willing to do for the rebellion. I mean, how bad was she bleeding trying to get that listening device out?
Well, I mean, the hand bleeds a lot, but it was a very light red blood, not a dark red. So it was a good amount of blood to bleed a lot because it's the hand, and you don't realize how much you do things with your hands, so it bleeds a lot. But yeah, no, she got in there to get that thing out, and she's like, we're here. They're going to think we're flirting. It's fine. Move to the left.
It's don't blow everything we work for because you won't move 2 feet.
Yeah. And then she's tracing the hands, she's trying to be sensual, and you see her face, and I'm like, that is so good of oh fuck, it's not working. And yeah, the tit for tat with Mon Mothma and Krennic was great.
And that just is another showcase of how well Luthen and Clea work together as a team, and how long they've been able to perfect this. So when you have these flashbacks to all of the different situations that they had been in. Again, also, I like the fact that their first act of terrorism was on Naboo, because it's Palpatine's homeworld and everything. So I thought that was very symbolic of hey, we don't agree with this fucking emperor.
We're going to do something here. Also, Kylo Ren is king of Naboo during the First Order. The new Heir to Vader comic series that came out is talking about it. I would like to read it because it sounds interesting, but I want to read that in the new Vader book.
That's interesting. That is very interesting. I don't like it. I understand it. I understand why he's King Naboo. Like, I don't like it though.
Yeah, it's just
But I thought it was really well done. Just the intertwining these 11th hour flashbacks. These 11th hour flashbacks. We're getting an origin story at the very end of the series.
Yeah.
Which is why I said I think we were probably we were just talking before we did this about Andor, and it's like this is flashbacks that we didn't need, but I'm so grateful that we had, because it does add so much more depth to Clea's goodbye, and also her weaving her way, her accessing that hospital with like the ISB taking over an entire floor of it was.
Did you realize who she was wheelchairing around?
It was like a grandma, right?
It was like E.T.
Oh yeah, I know.
It was like E.T. Yeah. I'm like, wait, did you guys just bring that back?
I was like, that kind of looks like E.T.
Yeah.
That granny has no idea what she would like.
We'll have to check you in on the other floor. She's just like, what? Who are you?
Yeah.
But in the other part that made it so symbolic is we're getting this flashback because Clea is like, okay, let me reminisce on my time with Luthen, and then Luthen, like, he's dying. Like, they brought him back, but he's dying, and it's his life flashing before his eyes.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we're getting this great scene to be like, okay, they're dying. Who were they together? You know, what's going to be done? And what I respected so much about this, and like how much Clea and Luthen were together, how well done their relationship was that we didn't fully understand, is when Clea finally gets to the room. Because you're right, she walks through and just like, bam, bam, like kills like 3 guys, like drags a body, gets to the room, and she just sees the thing there. She goes, okay, bam. And then she's like, she starts to cry, and then she just turns and leaves. There's no, like, I don't know if I can do this. You have to do it. Like, there's no, it wasn't the flashback there of him being like, there might come a time where you need to kill me, and I need you to promise to pull. No, she goes in, business, get it.
It's always been business.
And we're done. And then she gets back to the safe house. And that's where we see the character Clea not be, like, we don't see Luthen's secretary or assistant or daughter.
She's not in control anymore. She's not pulling the string. She's not working in the shadows. Like, she knows how fucked she is.
Yes.
Which is why I appreciated. You can definitely see the time jump in the fact that safe house is like no longer maintained, and it's really run down now.
How many other people have lived in there, gone through there, like, just to get in and out?
Yeah, it's not the place it used to be. But seeing her signal desperately, just like waiting for somebody,
like some old Morse code,
to try to get off of Coruscant with this information, was one, really cool to see, but two, as she's desperately trying to get help to get this information off of Coruscant, I think she was fully committed to going down with the ship right then and there, by the way.
I think she would have died, but I think she was terrified now.
Yeah. But as she's making like her whole grand hospital, what would you call it? Trip?
Oh, her that was easily like a very toned down version of the movie Dread or the Raid Redemption, where it's like, I'm gonna go through this drug den of people. She doesn't do a lot of fighting or things like that, but it's like, nah, man, like you're moving through it. This is
she was hauling it.
This is real, and
yeah,
it was very good.
But that's where Deidre gets arrested.
Yes,
too, during this scene, like, I can't remember the guy's name.
It was Piet.
What do you mean?
Like,
the name of it?
Yeah, the name of the guy who was there, who was like going to do it, was like Piet, and I was like, are you supposed to tell me this guy is going to become Admiral Piet later on?
but I think it's like his nephew or cousin or something, because it's like I was like, I know that name, and I was like, oh, is this how you start? Oh my god, and cause I thought when I heard that name, I was like, you're gonna capture Clea, and you're gonna discover the rebellion, but it's gonna be like you don't know where they are.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be what catapults you ahead in like a military career. Not expecting his going out, but yeah.
So yeah, but it's like he takes over like the whole situation from Deidre. I mean, it was his job duties.
Yes.
To start, like, you know, Deidre's the whole reason like everything got screwed up. But I love how Deidre gets arrested, but he still goes to her asking like, how would, you know, like, what do you think that they would do next? Like, what would their next moves be? Because one, he has no clue.
Yeah.
He has no clue like what they're going to do next. But secondly, he knows that Deidre can't help herself because she's just been so fixated on finding Axis, and you know, she finds him, everything comes crashing down, which would have been correct a few years ago, but by this point, it had already spread too much. Like, even if you would have gotten to Luthen at that point, the gears were already too much in motion in my eyes anyway.
Yeah, the rebellion was already like the, you know, it was the organization that it would be.
And I think if you would have gotten to Luthen then, Clea already had the information about the Death Star, which then would have been passed to Andor, which would have gotten back to Yavin, which would have started Rogue One, which would have catapulted to A New Hope, and then like that. I guess they could have gotten to Yavin earlier, and then it could have gone. So I guess like that could have happened. But anyway, I'm on a tangent.
Yeah.
Yeah, Deidre can't help herself. So it's like, here's this guy that's like going to take all the glory for everything that she's worked toward. And he's like, help me out here. Like, what would they do next? And it's like, well, you can't talk through normal channels. So I would do like this pulse communication.
Yeah, I would communicate like some other way, like Morse code for the most part.
Yeah. The Star Wars version of Morse code.
Yeah.
Which leads them to Clea's location.
Before we do that, let's talk about the interrogation where Krennic walks in.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Did you know that like him going like this to the top of her head, ad-libbed, or like that was he just did that, like walked in, and her reaction being like so uncomfortable is because she had no idea what was going on, and she just like kept trying to say the lines because he kept going, and it's this great power move, and I'm like, and Krennic's like, how long do you know this? And what seals Deidre's fate is because she's in this group to figure out what's going on with Gorman and like Krennic and the Emperor's energy. She's part of the Death Star plan group without knowing it, and they keep sending her. She keeps getting emails that she's not supposed to get.
Which, if you work in a corporate setting or if you work on any big project, it happens for me within working for laboratories, and it happens for you with working like
it happens to me all the time,
stuff like that.
Yeah,
the amount of classified shit that gets sent.
Like by mistake to the wrong person.
Oh man. Yeah.
Now, you're supposed to like report that and turn that right over.
Unless you're Deidre.
Fuck, I don't do that. I go like, shit, let me download this and start reading it.
No, I do the same thing too.
Okay. Like,
yeah. It gets sent to me.
Yeah, you were the dumbass who sent it to me. If I can open it without a password or an encryption.
Yeah, it's on you, buddy.
Yeah, I'm reading that shit. Like, I'll delete that email, but that's going on a thumb drive later.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, that's corporate stuff. Allegedly. So I hear, maybe.
Who knows?
Who's to say? But yeah, that entire thing where it's like, what do you know? Stardust, Death Star, and she like knows all the names. She's like this. Like, how long? I've been getting it for a while, but I was looking for Axis, and she just keeps trying to go. But I was looking for Axis, and it's like, that's not gonna work here, dear Deidre. Like. You are no one cares. You didn't capture Axis. You got him killed. You have nothing to show for it other than a corpse in a morgue. And it's like, okay, was he dead by that point?
Luthen?
Yeah, when he comes to her.
I don't know. I think Krennic might have broken the news. No.
Okay, no. Krennic was like, he's in the hospital. but then he walked outside and he like sighs because that's when he would have died,
Right.
and then he comes in because Luthen's dead. So like Deidre, like you still didn't get access.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, it's so good.
Everything that Deidre worked for.
Just it all went away. Like Cyril was away like that, and like he didn't get his payoff. Like
Cyril didn't get his payoff, but Deidre got even worse. She didn't get her payoff, but she directly contributed to the Death Star break. Like, if she would have just reported getting like this stuff that she wasn't supposed to get, then Lonnie would have never figured out the fact that the energy program was a lie.
Yes.
Which would have never tipped off Luthen and then created the chain of events
to get us to Rogue One to A New Hope.
So thank you, Deidre, for doing the rebellion a solid. And that's exactly what Krennic said. It's like, if you're not a rebellion spy, you really missed your calling. Like, that's...
Yeah, like it was so good. And it's like she's so loyal to a fault.
Yep.
And it's like she's so loyal, but she wants to climb it so hard that it's like, no, you're going to violate all of the things that like... And one of the things that bothered Mrs. Play, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they go... When they start coming back from Gorman after like Cassian like leaves and like they come back and it's like, why don't they shoot him down? He put the codes out there that said he was him. And I'm like, the base has to treat Cassian coming back when he goes rogue like this as if the Empire was coming.
Mm-hmm.
Because you saw what happened to Bix. Like, that happened to him. We don't know how he could have broken and given up the code, not realizing it, babbling like a madman. And he goes, nope, it's me, guys. I swear it's not a droid mimicking his voice, because that does happen here. Like, they always have to treat him like that. So it's like they could have shot him down in the air. They let him land because they were pretty sure. But then they also have to do, oh, fuck, are you here? Oh, great. Now we have to, like, blow up this base and now relocate to fucking Hoth, I guess. Like...
Well, and that's the thing, too, is that I think another reason why they let him land anyways is because what if the Empire was coming and then one of their ships just got randomly shot down? Like, they're going to be there anyway.
Yeah, they'd be there, like, immediately.
So you have to let him land and then you kill the crew.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Like, you confirm, everyone dies, and it's like, all right, pack it up, get us out of here anyway.
Like, you send the ship somewhere else or something, make it look like they went rogue or something like that. But yeah, I didn't have an issue with that at all.
Mrs. Play had a big problem with it because she's like, but he's the hero and he's done all... I'm like, that's not how that works. Like, the reason he gets grounded and sent to his room is because they still have to follow a chain of command. Because what happened the last time? We had a friendly fire incident, and one of the main characters got shot and killed. Like, there you go.
And I was going to say, because he's the hero is the only reason why he didn't die.
Yes.
Like, he didn't get court-martialed and, sent up against the firing squad. Like, his contributions are what kept him alive and that he got grounded.
Yeah.
Like, because they realized his contributions, like, yeah, he is a hero, but also he's still a cog in the machine.
Mm-hmm.
So, I appreciate the fact that it was Will who had this device from Luthen just in case. Because, yes, that man was a player. He was getting play on different planets simultaneously. That man was live, breathe, eat rebellion and women. I appreciated the fact that he kept going on missions for Luthen, even though Andor was over it by that point. When we get to that last time jump, like, Andor's not none of them are working for Luthen because the rebellion's established at that point.
I thought Will was gonna die when he was with Saul.
Oh, I thought so too.
I thought he was sent there to die because Luthen's like, well, he's fucked up twice now and gotten people killed.
And I was trying so hard to remember, and I watched Rogue One immediately after ending Andor, as most of us did.
Yes.
I don't recall seeing Will in Rogue One.
He wasn't.
He wasn't? Are you confirmed?
I'm like positive he's not.
Like, he wasn't on that. He wasn't with the crew at the when they go to Scarif. Like,
no, I think it was somebody. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah,
he wasn't with Melshi and stuff like that.
I don't think so.
Okay, can you confirm that for me? Because I did appreciate the fact that he was the one that kept in contact, because he his loyalty to Luthen never, I guess, like never really wavered, even after everything he went through with Saul. He wanted to hurt the Empire, and Luthen hurt the Empire a lot. So I like the fact that even though you weren't supposed to have any unauthorized communication devices on Yavin, that he still kept it as like a token to Luthen. Like the rest of them got trauma because of Luthen, but like that whole thing with Saul, but that was like Saul's doing, not really Luthen's fault.
Huff this jet fuel with me.
Come on, my boy.
You can do it. It'll connect us. Here's your baptism.
So, like, he got trauma by Saul. That's all. I don't blame Luthen for that.
Yeah.
The rest of them have Luthen trauma. It's understanding why they went to join the actual, like, the bigger rebellion, forming the alliance instead of going it alone like Luthen had done. I just appreciate the choice that Cassian made to leave.
Yeah.
Even after and I'm forgetting the name of the general that went to bat for him the entire time. And I even forgot his name in Rogue One too.
Draven?
Yeah, Draven. He's like, you can't do this. He's like trying to stop him the whole way. So it's like, I appreciate him saying that, like, they wouldn't be reaching out if it wasn't important. And so I like how we got some more Melshi after, because we hadn't seen him since the prison, right?
Yes.
When he had hair.
Wait, Melshi. Which one was Melshi?
Melshi was Andor's right-hand man after Bix left. But we were introduced to Melshi because he was Andor's cellmate in that prison.
That's right.
He just looked so much different because he had hair.
Yes.
And
okay.
Because that man was bald by the time we got to the events of Rogue One. So like they get back to Coruscant, and it's just one. I appreciate the fact that they were able to get into Coruscant so easily.
Yeah. Oh wow, he was in Mura in the new Space Marine game. It was a very, very like. I think he was really. So I didn't see him having a problem getting into Andor, or sorry, getting into Coruscant. Like looking up what else this guy's been in. That's my bad. I didn't see them having a problem with that because it's like, no, that city's huge.
Yeah.
Like they're always gonna have people. They're gonna let smugglers through because they've gotta play some things correctly.
Yeah.
I think ultimately like them getting in and landing there was always gonna be pretty easy. I just wasn't sure how they were gonna like have them get out, or if they were. Kalea is one of the few characters I'm like, do not let her die.
Yeah.
Like she has sacrificed like Luthen has. Luthen needs to die. She needs to be the reason that he doesn't get to see the sunrise. Yeah. That is his version of sunrise.
And again, with the suspense, that just kept me on the edge of my seat again. Like the Empire's connecting the dots. They're tracing everything.
So did you pay attention at all when they were talking about like the tech was like looking at the computers and stuff, and she's like, wow, yeah. So they tapped into the power building next door that was on our grid. Yeah. Like, this is genius. They could have been like using our power for years. Okay, so they were tapped, and then like right? Like she was just so impressed. Like, wow, this is actually really good. Yeah, game recognized game.
Yeah, right.
And they're like, no.
They were not appreciating the nerd out.
They were not.
Also, I don't even know what kind of title you would put him in, but the elite unit that they send to go get Clea and that massive guy with the mustache. Yeah. I love that guy. I know he's an Imperial, but that guy was business.
He was very, very good.
Yeah.
Stay behind me. Don't do this. Do this.
Yeah. So I was like, man, they're cornered. That's where we get some of the K, like the Rogue One K2SO, where it's like, Cassie told me to stay in the ship, but the ship was boring.
It was that was so good. It was we're not following orders. Following orders would be a nice change of pace. Like, there's a bunch of sarcasm there, and that's where, like, after he, like, sits on the ship and he just, like, sinks into his chair, and it's the most human thing. And Alan Tudyk brings that to Eric, because Alan Tudyk, one, plays a lot of autistic characters, touched with autism, so represent, I feel seen. And then, but he plays like that, he plays him so well. And, like, even before that, when they're, like, sitting there playing, like, games together, and he's like, you're not going to bluff. And, like, it's like, you can't talk your way out of this bluff. I'm a droid. Then play again. Yeah. It's just trying to bluff the droid. And
I wish we could have gotten so much more K2SO. That's the only reason I would want a third season.
And that was my thing. I was like, I figured if they would do something, they would end the second season. Like, I figured they would do, like, and they're like, I know it's supposed to be 5. Like, I get it. Don't work on this for 10 years. Unless they were, like, filming nonstop and they were like, hey, we're just gonna, like, here you go. Kind of do a Empire Strikes Back, Return of the Jedi, where it was, like, filmed on top of itself.
Yeah.
I think it could have worked then. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, no, if they didn't have it all written or anything like that and they were still, like, working on it, they could not. But, like, a third season being like, okay, this is what we did in the Rebellion.
I was so here for that, like, like the Love of Your Life exited. So, like, now you got Melshi and K2, you guys just going on some fucking benders. That's what it really. They were drinking a lot more. They were having a good old time.
Yeah, it was like the heartbreak of, like, I've got nothing left to live for. All right, the boys ain't gonna let me down. I got the boys. I hope we get a K2O Lego set.
Oh,
I hope we do.
God forbid if we ever get left. I don't know if you could trust us together. Like, if we lived together,
we'd be fine. We'd be okay.
Oh, we'd be living.
It'd be rough, but we'd be all right.
We'd get into some hijinks.
We'd get in some hijinks,
some tomfoolery, if you will.
Might be time to break out some old bad habits from misspent youth.
But K2 saving their ass, man.
Brutally.
Oh yeah.
Like, the subtlety is not something the K2 knows very well.
No.
Because it's like walking up, there's a K2 unit coming. Hey, you, yeah, are you part of us? No. What are you? Smack over the side. And it's just like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing. Then you get the other guy, it's like, you, stop there. Just, like, kills him. But it's getting up to the top and getting to the one guy.
Yeah, the ISB commander.
It was Piet. And then holding him up and, like, just using his body to block. And I'm watching that, I'm like, why does this feel so unnecessarily violent?
Yeah.
Why does this feel more violent than it should be?
Are we sure we're watching this on Disney Plus right now? I don't know if we're watching this on Disney Plus.
It was so good. Loved it.
I thought Clay had died right there. With how
the, like, grenade went off and everything,
and, like,
else.
how she was in such rough shape too. And I was like, because I was thinking to myself, I was like, well, Melshi makes it to Rogue One, but we don't see Clay. And I was like, please don't let Clay die here. I was in the same boat as you. I was like, she deserves to live. And so, like, they're, like, carrying her out, and, like, her body's all limp and everything. Mm-hmm. I'm like, man, they're not going to get her to Yavin.
I think she was one, concussed. Flashbang concussed her. And then 2, I'm like, you probably really haven't slept.
No.
And then you killed your dad.
Yeah, so you've been on adrenaline.
Yeah,
straight adrenaline for all that. But also, they laughed at Yavin, like Luthen and Clea. Like, they laughed at, like, their tactics and, like, and all of that. And they just seemed like they were like, they were treated as outsiders. So it's like, if I was going to end up at Yavin, like, I don't want to end up at Yavin, you know? Mm-hmm. I don't want to be with these guys. I want to be with my dad. But my dad's dead.
Yeah. I like that when they get to Yavin, she starts getting better. And then the first thing she does is, like, she goes and talks to, like, I think Cassian goes and talks to her. And then she like, wanders out and finds Vel.
Yeah.
And Vel's like, what are you doing? Are you, like our entire life aside of, like not being, like, I didn't like Luthen like you did, you know, that, like,
Like you guys, like they were rivals, basically.
Yeah, and because like even at the beginning of the season, like what do? We pretend that we're two single women surveying the prospect, and doesn't clink glasses with her, and it's like, catty bitch.
Yeah.
I think Vel doesn't clink the glass with her. And it's like, wow, you catty bitch, and then her being like, no, like we're gonna sit over here. You're okay. Like, I don't hate you. I don't even hold anything against you. Like this is just, I'm gonna see you as a person and understand what you've lost because I've lost something too, and we're gonna have this moment.
I honestly thought that like, even when Clea got to Yavin, I thought when she was like before she did find Vel that she was just gonna die in the forest right there,
Like walk off somewhere and like
yeah.
I'm glad that she didn't. She's
perfectly healthy, but for some reason we're losing her.
She died of a broken heart. Her dad, who wasn't her dad and didn't really love her except when he needed to. Oh.
But the ending of Andor, when they do, like they do get the hell out of Coruscant and they get back.
Draven's like, hey, we got something about your Death Star thing. We got some hits. We need you to go do this mission to go talk to this guy.
Well, yeah. Well, but first, like when Cassian does get back, like he has to debrief the council.
That's right. Yeah.
I hate the fact that they call it a council. I hate that.
Again, haven't we learned?
But like that's democracy for you, But like hearing like Senator Merrick talk about it, or
Bale,
Senator Palma.
Yeah.
Bale, yeah, and Bale too. I hated Bale in that scene.
Yeah.
Because Bale's like, he's like, you can't go off rogue like this, and like you could put everybody in danger. But like, I get it because Bale has been working toward this for so long. Like, I get it, but you also need to recognize like everything Andor's put on the line for this. But and they did a really good job of this in Rogue One too, showing how even though the Alliance is coming together, they're still very much on different terms on how they want to fight the Empire. But like Draven and Mon Mothma in particular, like had a long history with Luthen and is willing to hear him out. And Cassian's making the argument. It's like Luthen died to bring us this information. Like he died to bring us this information. Like we gotta seek it out. But the rest of the council, like Bale too.
Yeah, they're like, you still have loyalties to him. You just go running, and it's like none of you would be here, Mon Mothma. Like you wouldn't be here. Bale's team would have killed you.
Yeah,
and
they would have gotten to him after too. Like
yeah, Luthen saved all of you.
Yeah,
and then brought you all together. The least you can do now is hear him out one last time.
Glad somebody did.
Yeah. And then when he's like, I'm gonna go speak to Vel. I'm sorry, like I need to apologize. Like he's like, I need to go talk to her. And Mom was like, done, go. Yes.
Yep.
Yep, you do that.
I appreciated Mon going to Vel too and like stopping and was like, like help me help me believe him, or like see if like do you believe him? Like this story that he's coming back with. So I love how it did a really great job of showing that leading up to the mission that starts off Rogue One, showing just the different parties within the rebellion on Yavin being like, how, are you sure we can trust it? Like, what's going on? Like, is this information credible? Are we sure this isn't a trap? Draven at the very end of it too, he's like, I've had this man Tevik, right? I think is the operative with Saul's guys, like that's his name. It's like, I've had Tevik blowing up my phone for like 2 weeks, dude. Like he just keeps wanting to talk to me, and you come to me at the same time with this information about, like this massive weapon and this guy, and you mentioned Kyber and Saws on Jeddah, where there's a whole bunch of Kyber, and it's just like Draven's like,
did they go to Jeddah also in Rogue One?
They did, yeah.
That was the planet they went to where they were like evacuating the Jedi Temple.
Yeah.
Okay, so that they'd finished at that point.
Mm-hmm.
You were there very early in. You were there very early in Rogue in Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yes.
You'd have been there well before like that all
Yeah.
started. They'd have been establishing their presence.
Mhm.
Got it. Go ahead.
So it's nice to see all the pieces coming together with like the different parties to show that like we should probably like just at least see what's up,
Yes.
because the end game was approaching. People were finding out about the Death Star from all different corners, or if not about the Death Star, the big parts leading up to it. You know,
The Empire is evil. They are not.
they're building something big.
Yes.
But yeah, I just love the fact that in that scene between Cassian and General Draven, he's like, yeah, like this guy, like, do you trust Havoc? He's like, not really.
Yeah, he's like, I'll only talk to you or something.
Yeah,
and it's like it just seems weird. Like this ISB thing would come up, and then this comes up,
and I'm trying to think where. I'm guessing Tevik was on. Maybe he was a part of the prison arc in the first season, but I was trying to think to myself at the time, like where did Tevik and Andor, like where did they meet? You know. So, but yeah, just the different, different machinations that brought us to that point where the ending of Andor, the series, just still didn't feel like an ending of the series. I think you just got to staple Rogue One on there, and that's the end of Andor, the TV show, is Rogue One, the movie. But when you finished Andor, did you immediately launch into Rogue One? Like, did you like
a day later?
Okay, a day later.
Yeah, I've watched it really recently.
Okay.
I watched it, I think, in Singapore.
I had, and you were one of them too. I'm pretty sure, or maybe you just watched after me, or you had mentioned it in passing. But I had 3 different people who had watched the finale before me, because, like I said, I was late.
Yeah.
Say like, you have to watch Rogue One after it. You have after the.
I did not. I honestly didn't feel that need to.
Oh, I did.
Like Rogue One's a great movie, but it's one of those things where, like, kind of harkening back to the start of this podcast, go watch Andor. It's great. You don't need to watch anything before or after. Go watch Rogue One. You don't have to watch Andor. Like they're both completely separate good shows and movie.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you to a point. But I think you don't need to watch Andor to watch Rogue One. And I guess you don't need to watch Rogue One to watch Andor. However, you should.
It does give you this really, like, big picture at the end of, like, what he lost.
Well, it's not just a big picture. It's a big payoff, too.
So,
like, Rogue One's the payoff of Andor.
It is.
Like, Luthen died to get that information out.
And then Jyn Erso, yeah.
Yeah, but so that Cassian can go on this last mission, to finish things. And
honestly, I'm going to say this, much how you're like, oh, this is backstory that I'm glad we got. We didn't really need Andor at all.
Well,
it's great. I love it. But it's also the same. Like, at the end, the big spoiler, we go back and we see Bix walking through the fields, and then she's holding a baby. It's like, oh, honestly, didn't add or take anything away from it for me.
Oh, I'm just happy that there's a little Cassian in the world.
I like that people were speculating. People were like, oh, it's Poe! It's Poe! And it's like, it can't be Poe, guys. Poe would be like 60. It cannot be Poe.
No, he wouldn't be 60. What are you talking about?
This is a year before that. There's another, like, 20 plus year. I don't think it could have been Poe Dameron.
No, the age lines up perfectly. What are you talking about?
How long was the New Republic thing?
Not long.
How long was the First Order thing? What?
So, The Mandalorian takes place in between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens, right? I think it's only maybe like a 20-year gap between the Battle of Yavin and... I'm sorry, not the Battle of Yavin, but the Battle of Endor and the Force Awakens. Like maybe 25 years? 30 at max. But if you have...
it's 30 years. The reason it can't be Poe Dameron was born on Yavin 4 into ABY.
Oh, cool.
Well,
yeah, like Poe already has a backstory and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I was like, it could be Poe Dameron. It's like, that's
that would be cool. But
in all honesty, like her being pregnant, having like when she left, like Nicole's like, probably pregnant or something. I was like, yeah, probably. Like to me, it was like, there's no other reason you would leave like that, especially if you like,
unless something disrupts your worldview.
Yeah,
you know? Like,
and that was it. And to me, it was like, okay, knowing like he's never going to see her, like it's still the cowboy shade. It's still the cowboy shade that she has a kid. But I don't think that that extra sequence was actually needed.
I think it was.
Really?
Yeah. Not for Cassie and not for anybody else. I think the sequence was needed for Bix.
Okay. I like that.
Don't get me wrong, like I'm super excited that there's a little Cassian, but everything that Bix went through during the show's events,
she gets to like hopefully live out relatively peacefully on this planet
with the most beautiful little baby.
You know who I was actually thinking it could have been? I was thinking it could have been Ezra for a moment, but Ezra knew both of his parents for a time.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd be cool if it was Ezra. And then I was like, Ezra happens before this.
So it's so crazy because like they're on Mina Rao, but Mina Rao looks a lot like Nicole.
It does.
It really does. Like that's
There's Oh, so just speaking of all this, right? I talk about some other weird plot points that they want to tie up. I sent you a thing for Perrin.
Yeah.
You didn't watch it. We're at 3 hours, but it's this really weird thing, and this is one of the things that I love is like show don't tell.
Mm-hmm.
And like sometimes like that's my biggest gripe with the show is like I did some things for the rebellion. I've said enough. And I'm like, yeah, sure. You seem to sleep pretty well. Maybe you get a little drunk with your buddies a little too often, but you slept better than Bix has. So, and I sent you the video, and it's a very well constructed argument that there was apparently a deleted scene where Perrin looks at Mon Mothma and goes, "I wish you'd have let me in."
Like he knew about the whole thing.
He knew about the whole thing.
Yeah, I know the scene that I figured that's where the video was.
Yeah,
what it was built on, but I did know about the fact that was cut.
And so, I think that would have been one of the laziest scenes to put in there. And much like when I say like some of my problems with Star Wars, and when Star Wars does something, is they'll have done it somewhere else better.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever see the movie The Departed?
Long time ago.
Okay. So at no point do we have an idea that Perrin knows.
Mm-hmm.
Like I read Perrin when I watch the show and I see Perrin, I'm like, because they talk about when Tay and Mon are catching up, it's like Perrin used to be a firebrand like the rest of us. Like he was this really cavalier, and it's like, but then he gets into arranged marriage to Mon, and she's more successful. So he's kind of a bitter, jaded husband who's wealthier but not as successful as his wife. Pits their daughter against her, and like plays like the good, what have you.
And that was a lot of season 1 too, like that kind of Perrin.
Yeah.
Sure.
And so when someone told me that, I was like, that I can't read him at all like that. Like if it would have come to me like I'm
sorry, you said you can't read him at all. Is it like he would have known? Okay, yeah.
And he would have kept it to himself. Because at the end of the series, we see him in a car drinking next to
some floozy.
No, did you not see who it was?
Mm-mm.
It's the mother of his. It's his daughter's mother-in-law.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
It's his daughter's mother-in-law.
No way.
Yes.
It can't be. That's not
true. Search your feelings. You know it to be true.
That's impossible.
We can go put that on. It is totally his, I guess, sister-in-law. I don't know. I don't know what that is. I don't know what my in-laws are to each other.
Okay.
But so there was this, and I was like, so I saw that, and like even if he would have said he would have known or suspected, there was this really great scene in The Departed. Leonardo DiCaprio is going. He's like upstairs meeting Martin Sheen to like talk about like what's going on, and he gets a call from one of the guys in one of the guys who played the Joker, not Heath Ledger, but the older one, gets a call from like one of his people And he goes like, hey, we know where the mole is and we got the guy here. Meet me at blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And Martin Sheen's like, you need to get out of here, Leonardo DiCaprio. Like, fucking run. And he does, and he goes down, and he goes down the back way, and Martin Sheen's body comes off, and he runs up and sees him, like, hit the ground. He goes, what the fuck's going on here? And they're like, get in the car. Where were you? He's like, I was out for a walk, like, doing the Boston thing. And so he does that, and they get back to the place, and one of the guys takes like a round or a bullet or gets hurt.
Yeah.
And he's laying there dying, and they're hiding in the safe house. And the guy's like, he calls him over and goes, hey, he wants to talk to you. And it's like, okay. He comes over and he grabs him and goes, hey, I want you to know I know. It's what the fuck are you talking about? He goes, I told you the wrong address, and you still showed up at the right place. I'm also a cop. And it's just like, I told you the wrong address. If you play it back, like, the address that he's at is not the address that they go to, and you hear the address get said, the telephone, and then it gets to DiCaprio, it's the wrong address. Mm-hmm. And if they would have done something like that, where, like, the whole gambling sequence, where parents, like, someone's lying to you, and I think if Perrin would have, like, let into it more, or eventually been like, fine, I know, I can, and, like, would have, like, said something like that, and then later on been like, I've known. Like, why do you think I admitted to gambling when we both know I hadn't been doing it? I would have been like, okay, cool. He's known the entire time. Yeah. He can't let his wife know because he's being interrogated or something like. But there was never anything of that.
That's why the scene was deleted, though.
Yeah, but it's like it was just one of those things where I read the argument and I was like, okay.
If there was more done in pursuit, like you said, if there was more done in pursuit of that argument, I'd be like, that'd be cool.
I could totally see that.
And I think they would have. I think it was important for them to include the scene at the end with Perrin in the car, because there was a lot to be said in the second season from Perrin. We got like the bitter, jaded, house husband kind of feel from in season 1, but they had so much to go through in season 2 that you didn't really get any of that in the second season. You just kind of got Perrin as like a. He's the husband dealing with like getting ready for the wedding. He's just kind of like, just going through the traditions. But the speech that he gives it's either at the, it's
right after the wedding about we'll have the hard times and
don't forget like joy, like like he goes into like the speech about like joy and like this is don't forget about the joy in your life and like the stuff you do that brings you joy. And so for me, his character went from that bitter, jaded husband to this is just a guy who loves getting rich. Like he's rich and he's rich enough that he can pursue his interests and his hobbies without having to work to survive.
Yeah.
He's not living paycheck to paycheck like so many Americans. Yeah. Anyway, and he has time to pursue those kind of.
Yeah, he's a wealthy aristocrat.
Yeah. So, and I thought. The fact that they left the scene in showing him. Now, I didn't realize that was his mother, and that is his daughter's mother-in-law or whatever.
Yeah.
If that is true, damn.
We can go upstairs and check that real quick.
We will. Trust me. The second this podcast is over, I don't want to know the answer right now. But I think showing him in that car shows his true feelings. As the character, like sure, like he talks about joy. He's a wealthy aristocrat. He gets to do whatever he wants, explore whatever he wants. But his wife is there fighting the Empire publicly now, which also I'm surprised the Empire didn't round him up and
Oh, they probably.
Well, they probably did, but I thought they would have killed him.
No.
Or held him hostage or something.
No, he is harmless.
So
and
But so that's the thing. It's like to show that the kind of lifestyle that he's living is not actually fulfilling him. And I think that it was great that they left that scene in, and I appreciate the fact that they didn't have that deleted scene where he knew everything.
Yeah. And he drinks the wine, he shoves her off of him a little bit. Yeah. He's disgusted with himself.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's also he's not going to stop.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But so the scene with Bix, we already know what happens with Andor, Mon Mothma, all their stories. We got the scene with Perrin, but then we get Deidre's scene.
Yes.
And I have problems with it.
Okay, what
Huge problem with it.
what's up?
So, like I said, Deidre's the whole reason the Death Star blows up, right?
Yeah.
Deidre gets... It's ironic that she gets sent to the same prison that Cassian did, building parts for said Death Star. The problem I have with it is that there's no way the Empire should have let her live. The Empire... She knew too much. How do you let somebody like that go to prison when she knew too much about all of the classified information about the Empire?
She's discredited, disgraced, and they just put her there. She's gonna look like a... She breaks down and just starts crying.
Yeah, she was broken for sure. But I just think it's... The Empire has killed people for less.
Yes.
So it just surprised me that they didn't kill her too.
Nah, you still have worth to the Empire.
I just think with that...
Like, taking her out back and shooting her, sure. That they could have all yelled at her.
Well, they should... I'm saying, like, from a... It just doesn't make sense to me that they let her live, because from a security standpoint, you should have old yelled at her. Like, that's what they did to every other mole. I know she wasn't willingly a mole, but she did the most damage.
So I think after the Death Star would have blown up, somebody would have killed her.
I think they just forgot about her at that point.
At that point they did. But before that, she hadn't caused anything yet. She was just... It was gross incompetence. Cyril was already gone. So yeah, send her to this prison. She can still be useful to us. And I'm betting that was... What's the ISB guy's name? Partagaz. I'm betting that was like him being like,
showing mercy.
Here's the only bit of mercy I can give you is you will live.
The only bit of mercy before
he shoots himself.
He had to.
Oh,
because he knew exactly what was coming for him. He failed. You didn't?
I did not see that coming.
Oh, I mean,
like in the last 3 episodes I did, but I loved how you watched that room. It was so full of ISB people, and then by the end of it, it's just him and Krennic, and there's like only 3 people in the ISB left, and I'm wondering, does the ISB just go away?
They had a very short scene when they were talking about Dr. Gorst.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that like he had been transferred to
the Navy,
and so much like the individual people vying for prestige ranks, I'm sure the military is the same way too. Like it's they're fighting over the Emperor's love.
Yes.
And so like if you're not showing your worth, the Emperor doesn't care. Mm-hmm. So by the end of it,
the ISB failed.
The ISB is still a thing, yeah, but they're not as big and as powerful as they used to be.
It's now the Imperial Navy, the Imperial Army, and then
and Tarkin,
yeah, and then they disband the Senate. The direct governors will take control of their local systems, and fear of this weapon will keep them in line.
But yeah, so that's I think like the last power with the ISB dies with Krennic. So
that's right, he's still technically ISB. So overall, I think I like the first season more.
I don't.
Really?
I thought the arcs in the first season, the slow burn just started, and then the ending of it for the first season, I thought were weaker than this overall second season. I think what makes the first season great is the prison arc and the Aldhani arc. And the other two are kind of like,
a little bit slow, yeah.
But that's how it goes because you have to set up backstory and stuff like that.
And honestly, everything that happens on Ferrix,
yeah. It's just kind of like, I mean, I like Marva.
I liked Marva.
Yeah.
I loved the speech they did and how, like, I think Ferrix was to me, a more powerful Gorman. I think it was Gorman done better. Because it's like, we told them they could have this many, and everyone in the whole fucking town shows up.
Yeah.
And then it's like, the fact that Brasso just takes her, like, stone, like, her gravestone, and starts beating people with it, and it doesn't break. Like, it's not cheap brick or anything. I think I ultimately enjoyed the prison arc, the Aldhani arc, and then prison arc, Ferrix, and the Aldhani arc more than I enjoyed any other arc over there. I like what the second season did more. Mm-hmm. And if I had to say anything, like, what puts it over the prison arc?
Fair.
The prison arc, like, to me is so hopeless.
And Where would you rank Andor with all of the Star Wars shows out there?
All the show. Okay, hold on.
Yeah, leave the movies out of it. The shows.
Okay, just the shows. Okay.
So.
I'm gonna leave Visions out of it too.
I was gonna say you can leave the animated shows out of it.
There's not that many you got Kenobi, you've got Acolyte.
You got Acolyte, Kenobi,
okay,
Book of Boba Fett, Mandalorian,
Ahsoka.
I feel like I'm forgetting one.
Andor.
I feel like I'm forgetting. No, I don't think I am.
Andor, Mandalorian, Ahsoka, Obi-Wan, Book of Boba Fett, The Acolyte, Skeleton Crew.
Skeleton Crew, right. So there's 7.
7, yeah. We never talked about Skeleton Crew.
We never had a chance to. Skeleton Crew is great.
Skeleton Crew is great.
And a lot of people right now are making the comparison, like, I can't believe that we're getting 2 Star Wars shows that, like, you have Skeleton Crew where, like, it's like these kids and a lot of like dark stuff happens in Skeleton Crew, but like not on the dystopian level of Andor. Andor is dark. But this is my take. Andor is by far and away my favorite live action Star Wars show. And I was wrestling with myself. If you included the animated projects, I think for me, Clone Wars maybe, I think, etches it out only because it was longer.
Okay. If I had to do this, it would probably be my top 3. I would probably say The Mandalorian for the first 2 seasons.
Mm-hmm.
Because one, I'm sitting here rocking my Beskar and my Darksaber earring. One, because I love the fact they were like, we need to bring back Mandalorian culture, because that is one of the coolest aspects of KOTOR. And I like the fact that it was like, it wasn't Star Wars, it was an Old West movie.
Yeah.
Or a Kurosawa film, and I'm a massive sucker for both of those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to say Skeleton Crew was number 2.
Really? Okay.
Because Skeleton Crew was Treasure Island or Treasure Planet in reverse.
Yep.
People are like, do you want a live action Treasure Planet? No. Well, Skeleton Crew came out. Yeah, go watch that. That's a great Treasure Planet. I fucking loved it. And then I would say it would probably go to Andor, Kenobi, Ahsoka.
So,
and it's not that like Ahsoka's any worse than the rest of them. I just think of what the others had to say was better.
I think, and we get into the overarching issues that you and I both share, is that Ahsoka is plagued by pacing issues. Just like, out of all the shows, the Book of Boba Fett was the worst offender of pacing issues. Like, that was just, but what makes The Mandalorian, Skeleton Crew, Andor so strong is that they all have this overarching theme to them.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas with the Book of Boba Fett, and like, I don't mean to shit on, because like, I enjoyed getting to see Boba Fett again. The characters in Boba Fett, like, it was nice to see. Like, I like that we got like
Cad Bane.
He's unnecessary in my opinion. It would have made more sense had you had like the arcs with a young Boba Fett and Cad Bane and like their partnership in the Clone Wars. But that never happened.
Fennec.
Yeah, Fennec Shan. Yeah. So it was nice to see the characters. The pacing issues were awful.
Yes.
Ahsoka is still really good to me. And I'm sure once we get the second season, it'll be great.
I think Ahsoka has this very hard job of what happened at the end of Rebels. That's what happened to Gold Squad at the end of Rebels, and the fuck is up with the what's it called arc? The Mortius arc.
Right. Yeah.
And like it's one of the most hated arcs in all of Star Wars history, because one, so much got cut from it, and two, because
it changed everything. too.
And it felt like nothing mattered, though.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, they all have amnesia, so what did it actually change?
Mm-hmm.
It didn't cause anything. It was completely superfluous.
Yeah.
And they're like, but like, you see, like, now, like, they brought it back in Rebels, and it's like, this is a thing that matters.
Mm-hmm.
Ahsoka's also followed by the Owl. Like, she's chosen to be the next. Like, I'm wondering if it's going to like lead with her like having to be the next like daughter, and like it's going to like that's
with
what
Anakin being the not the son but
the father. He's going to become the father because he's going to have both sides. And
who the hell's the son then?
That's a great question. Starkiller, or Balin Skull.
He just doesn't.
Or
You need somebody heinous.
Or Revan. I could see them trying to bring Revan into it.
Listen, Keanu Reeves is the only answer for Revan. I'm just saying that now. He's basically Keanu Reeves, okay?
He is. I don't really care. But there is a... Keanu Reeves turned down like this huge role to play somebody, to play a schizophrenic mech pilot for 7 minutes on Amazon Prime's gaming thing.
Yeah.
So if he wants to show the fuck up and be Revan only in this thing, and he just shows up for a moment, and like we see scraggly beard Keanu Reeves, and that's the only thing we get to acknowledge that Keanu Reeves is fine. Remake KOTOR.
But so sorry. The point of like my rankings of the live action shows is the fact that like Skeleton Crew, Andor, and Mandalorian all follow a theme. You know, like Mandalorian at the end of the day, it's a space western.
Yeah.
Skeleton Crew, like you said, it's Treasure Island. Andor,
it's a spy drama.
Yeah. Dystopian spy. But they all follow central themes, which are better stories, and they don't give in to it being Star Wars. Like that's everybody loves Star Wars. Like you love it's ingrained in culture, but you can't throw too much Star Wars into something.
Because then you end up with what people did not like of Star Wars, the Force Awakens, where it's like, well, it was just episodes 4 again, and it's like, yeah, because people complained about episode 1, 2, and 3 not being Star Warsy enough, or not being like the originals.
So I don't think I hear the least amount of criticism about Force Awakens. The most amount of criticism from The Last Jedi. That's a separate argument, but I think myself among them too is the fact that like you hear that problem with the Rise of Skywalker more than anything,
and especially now.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, I just think it was rushed.
Yeah,
and really, I get having really great director like these famous directors work on your projects, but if you're doing a trilogy, you really should It should have been either Johnson throughout the whole go, or it should have been JJ throughout the whole go.
Mm-hmm.
Having somebody just in the middle of it just doesn't do it justice. But the key I'm trying to make here is I love Nimbus.
Yeah, she's telling me it's bedtime.
Is one that you can't put too much Star Wars in something.
Yes.
Andor did a phenomenal job on that. I wish we could have done a podcast for Skeleton Crew. Life has been silly.
We can come back in a couple of weeks and do a podcast for Skeleton Crew.
I have to rewatch all Skeleton Crew.
Done. I'll do that too.
Okay.
I love Skeleton Crew. By the way, my new favorite ship in Star Wars, the Black Cinder. Or the Onyx Cinder. Fucking great name for a pirate ship.
I like Ludwig's Holcraft, but mainly because I saw this video on YouTube when he did the thing back in season 1 where he has the
lightsabers.
No. He's in space and he gets intercepted by not a Star Destroyer, but I think it's like an interdictor cruiser, the one with the tractor, like the really massive tractor beam, and a dish and everything. Somebody did that whole sequence of him like going ham and like defeating that thing, but they put Freebird over it, and it just fits perfectly.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But that's also the same scene where he gets lightsabers on his ship.
Oh yeah, he did. Yeah, I was more obsessed with the fact that he had like the little blade, like the metal blades that like go into the.
I like the fact that he's like, oh, let me try to speed away, and they're like, increase the power, and then he's like, it's like, what are they at? They're at like 7. Cool. Boop.
Yeah.
And it's like
you use the tractor beam again.
I was like, oh, that is so good.
But yeah, I hope going forward, and we're at such a pivotal point in Star Wars right now with everything. Unfortunately for us, like Disney's not making as much money as it did, and like they've really scaled back their streaming projects.
Yeah, you've oversaturated the market.
Yeah.
Everything people told you were going to do, you've done.
Yeah. Just like with Marvel.
Yeah.
But we're at such a pivotal point because the only other projects that you have, like live action TV show wise, there is no Mandalorian season 4. Actually, is there? There's not. It's just the movie, right? The culmination.
I think there's a season 4 and then the movie.
Okay. You have You have the second season of Ahsoka.
Yep.
You have the next season of The Mandalorian, which season 3 did not perform as strongly as the first 2. Mainly because I think they used it too much as like a setup season, which like you're bound to take a hit for, your, I don't want to say like your performance, but your performance.
Okay. Go ahead.
A lot of people are asking like, is Star Wars ever going to be like this good again? Like what's next? So like I'm on one page, I'm very happy that we've had these hits with Star Wars. Acolyte was a miss. Again, pacing issues.
The Shadow Daddy from the Acolyte was at Star Wars. He put on the helmet. It was really cool to watch him do that.
Is he still like ripped?
Yeah, he's a fucking like dancer. Yeah, he is.
Oh, sick.
He did all of his own stuff. Yeah, he's jacked.
It's not. The Acolyte, in my opinion, performed poorly because, again, it followed the same pacing issues that the Book of Boba Fett did. You can't... Flashbacks can be such a lazy storytelling device if they're not done right.
Back to 10 can be a really cheap way to get through a game or a story, especially if you milk it for all it's worth.
Sponsored by Bacta.
Thank you, Republic Commando.
But in my opinion, the reason Acolyte failed is because it just... One, it got review bombed unfairly. Because people didn't...
It was woke. Star Wars went woke. No. My issue with it was like, pacing issues, and then 2, all the most interesting things. It was like, here's this interesting thing, cool, we can talk about. None of it. On to the next sequence. And it was like...
Yeah. I think it could have
been well.
Yeah, and if it would have gotten a second season, it would have gotten more room to breathe. And hate to break it to you, but a lot of Star Wars projects falter out of the gate.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the prequels did.
Yep. Clone Wars.
Yep.
Rebels.
Yep. I mean, that's
Ahsoka season 1. It got cool. It did some cool things. But yeah, and my issue
Obi-Wan to a degree.
Obi-Wan to a degree. And like Obi-Wan, I think for all the live action that's like very Star Wars is the best. Is the best like Star Wars in a Star Wars context where it's like it's a Jedi, it's a Sith, but it's trying to tell you a story of loss, of regret, of PTS. Like it's giving you all the things that like oh, you're this great general, but before we get to, Alec Guinness and of course the culmination of everything with Maul.
There was always a story that needed to be told between those with Obi-Wan because you can't believe that Homeboy was chilling in the desert that entire time. You
can't believe that he was so well adjusted.
Yeah.
Like I want
everything he went through.
I want to see like the ugliness and that I'm excited for the new Maul series. Like, and I think sometimes the animated series gets a little bit of like.
I'm sorry, you've reminded me of my other
point,
go ahead. Like going into this, but go ahead.
I think the people give more pass on the animated series because like, well, it's a kid show and it's animated. They do not give it the same credence as live action. Mm-hmm. Where it's like, no,
you can't do that.
Just because something is animated doesn't mean it's not good or better.
Yeah.
I would say the Rebels is ultimately better than the Clone Wars up until the final season. But that's because at the point of the final season, they've gotten through all of Clone Wars, all of Rebels, and now could give you this really amazing story of what happened to Ahsoka, how does she get here, what the fuck's going on. Mm-hmm. Like, what tell us her ending from the Clone Wars.
The only issue I have with Rebels, and I don't even really have much of an issue with it anymore, but when it did first premiere, I just didn't like the animation style. That's it. It was I was so accustomed to how they had refined the animation by the time Clone Wars had gotten canceled because of the acquisition. So like when they got to Rebels, I was like, it looks like a little weird, a little off to me, not what I'm used to. But, and I'll stand by this, the storytelling in Rebels was better than Clone Wars.
It was. The first season to me was like, it needs the first season to be a kid show.
Exactly.
And that's my only thing. Like,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, it was a kid show. Now it's going to start handling adult topics. And by the end of it, it's just like, oh, we're seeing like someone who wants to be a Jedi. Like,
you're crying like a little bitch when Kanan eats it.
Oh my God. It's such a good scene.
Yeah. I mean,
you always saw me.
And his eyes come back at the last. Oh, God. Okay. Yeah, it's just, you know how I said I have my point?
Yeah.
It's gone again.
Okay.
Where did it go?
You can always post it in the Star Wars chat that we have on the Discord.
That's fair. At the end of this 3-hour-long podcast, here's Tyler's point that he forgot. It's just, it was there, man. We were talking about Rebels. We were talking about Clone Wars. This is how my
point. It was your point of why we're doing live action, or why you were saying live action.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
It's back. The train came back after a temporary stop. When all of the 80 million Star Wars shows were announced forever ago, and you have that photo of like all of their different title cards, and it's like, Andor, Rangers, New Republic, Ahsoka, so on and so forth, all those different shows. And I fully remember this, being a part of this. You see the show for Andor, and you're like, why do we need this? This isn't a Star Wars show we need. Or when Bad Batch was announced, you're like, we're getting a whole show based on this one unit from this one arc in the Clone Wars. Like, why do we don't need this? Mm-hmm. And then you know what happens? They turn out being some of the best work that the Disney version of Lucasfilm has ever put out. Like it's your Skeleton Crew. Like, oh, like why do we need this story? Like, what does it tie into anything? It might tie into something, actually.
I think it's supposed to go to the Pirate King. It was supposed to foreshadow the Pirate King, and
I think it's actually showing how Palpatine was able to afford his whole Sith Eternal fleet. That whole Old Republic Mint and stuff like that. I think it feeds into the Sith. But that's just me.
It really should just be Exegol. No, it was Exegol. What was it in KOTOR? Starforge. It should have just been the Starforge.
Right, yeah.
It should have just been the Starforge.
But it's like, we have these shows that start off on like why do I like Andor, like that new Star Wars show, like sure, I'll watch it, and then by the end of its run, here we are raving about it in a podcast. But like that's the same, like why did we need a show about a Mandalorian, and then all of a sudden like that one ballooned, that one took off.
Yeah. I think the Mandalorian, like I think the whole point for like the Mandalorian was like, okay, here's this old thing. Yeah. We're gonna bring it in and we're gonna rework it, because originally it was like, if you played KOTOR, it was the helmet that made you Mandalore.
Yeah. Then
they were like, no, it's the Darksaber, and I'm like, cool. I do, like that's a change that I can live with. Mm-hmm. I can live with the fact that it's like here's Death Watch's old world culture Mandalorian. Everyone else is like newer Mandalorian, or they were born on Mandalore.
I'm not going to follow your old ways, Dad.
Yeah.
I'm going to take off my helmet.
and there were so many things there that were fantastic, and like it showed, because it's like, oh, they fought the Jedi and we got the glimpse of that. Well, why would they fight the Jedi? What makes them different? And it's like, well, no, the Mandalorians like believed in community and everything else, and the Jedi, like, sure they did to a point, but ultimately they have fundamental differences in like what they should teach and how they should teach it, which was great. And I think getting to see that was cool, and the juxtaposition in the armor going like, this is what they thought, this is what we think, and like Din Djarin being like, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you be that way? And then you're right. Like Ahsoka was like, it was like the Ahsoka live action. Like I love Rosario Dawson. And Mrs. Play's like, Ashley is her Ahsoka, so she watches it. She's like, I'm excited, but she's watching it. She goes like, it's just, if I think if it would have been CG straight through, it would have been more enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think it comes down to, do you have something to say with these characters? Obviously, with Andor, you have a lot to say, and
you're shouting it.
And it's like, one, it's prevalent now, but then it was prevalent, in the 70s. Mm-hmm. It was prevalent in the 40s. Like we're seeing things happen, and it just happens to be coming out at a time where we're like, fuck, we're watching this happen in our generation.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really good. Overall, I think Andor. I'm gonna close it on. Do you need to watch it if you liked Rogue One? No. Do you want a good TV show? You're gonna you should only actively watch it. Don't just sit there and put it on in the background while you're cleaning or doing the dishes. Sit down and watch it. You'll enjoy it.
Mm-hmm. I'm glad we got it. I'm gonna close on a lot of the same, but I also wanted to close on something that Tony Gilroy touched on at the end of the show's run.
Mm-hmm.
So Kathleen Kennedy, as we all know, she's retiring. She's on her swan song. But Tony Gilroy came out in such a strong defense of Kathleen Kennedy, because Tony Gilroy, what sets him apart from like a lot of other directors, so like Filoni, Favreau, it's like Filoni especially, like he lives and breathes Star Wars. Like he's very connected to the story. He's very connected to, because he's a Star Wars fan at the end of the day. Tony Gilroy wasn't like a Star Wars fan. Like he directed this, but still like directed this, made this story incredible. But he came out in defense of Kathleen Kennedy, saying that she's a big reason that Andor was allowed to survive. That like she, no matter the budget, if Tony needed something like, if needed more money for a project, if we need this actor, like she greenlit the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't mean to end on this kind of note, but I'm not on like social media as much these days in terms of like fandoms, and so we all know the Star Wars fans, for better or worse.
We are what we are.
Mm-hmm. But what pisses me off more than anything is how evil you can be toward a specific person. How just, if you're a dick and you're just shitting on how somebody views Star Wars or how somebody looks at it, and you just are filled with nothing but hate about it all the time, get a life. Go outside.
Touch some grass.
Has Kathleen Kennedy's tenure at Lucasfilm just been perfect? No. There have been some duds, sure. But you also have projects like Andor, projects like Skeleton Crew, projects like Mandalorian. Like, those are projects like Rogue One. We're talking like home run hitters, right?
Yeah.
So for every book of Boba Fett,
Acolyte.
Yeah, for all those like that flopped, unfortunately, like it sucks. But you got to take the good with the bad, and if the director of a show that has just finished up a phenomenal run is coming to the defense of like their executive producer, like maybe listen.
Mm-hmm.
Like maybe at the end of the day, just like take a chill pill, take a breather. If you disagree with stuff, write a letter to them. Don't shout from the top of your lungs about how shitty everything is all the time. Like, be constructive.
I love me some Dave Filoni. I love me some Sam Witwer. God, do I think they have some fucking horrible takes on Star Wars.
That they do.
And that's okay.
It's okay to disagree.
The stuff that, like, Kathleen Kennedy did, like, I did not hate Kathleen Kennedy. I think she put out some stinkers, and while her home runs were grand slams,
her stinkers were bad.
I think her stinkers were equally as bad as the good were good.
Mm-hmm.
And that's okay.
But I don't hate Kathleen Kennedy as a person.
I don't know her as a person.
Yeah, like,
I can't form an opinion.
Yeah, it's just not.
Yeah.
You know, like, people are treating her like she's Emperor Palpatine over there. Like, she's not.
Yeah.
If you want to be angry at anybody, like, be angry at George for selling it in the first place. If you want to be like that vindictive,
be angry at George for having some shit takes about his own franchise too.
Yeah.
Like, we can sit here. We can do this all day. I can do this all day. We can keep going around with this.
Yeah.
But to end on an even more positive note, Star Wars Battlefront 2 is having a massive revitalization right now. People are trying to play it with the hopes of getting a Battlefront 3.
Yep.
So this podcast is sponsored by the hope that we get a Battlefront 3, because Battlefronts are built on the hope of others.
You know who's spearheading that whole thing, by the way?
You?
No.
Are you sure?
Am I actively trying to get back into my EA account to get Battlefront 2 re-downloaded? Yes.
Okay. I was like,
yes,
you know what you could do? You know what you could do?
Well, hold on, before I forget this thought.
Okay.
It's like hour 3.5, and if I forget it, it's not coming back.
Go ahead.
The actor, Will's actor, Willman.
What?
Yeah, he's been playing Battlefront a lot. He's like, he keeps saying, like, EA, like, he just keeps tweeting EA. He's like, we need this game. Please give us this new game.
That's great.
Yeah.
Maybe with not all the cards. You know what you could do? I think Battlefront 2 was free if you had PlayStation Plus. So if you got it on PlayStation and played online, you could just play together.
Yeah, well, I have it on PC.
But it can also be free on PlayStation.
But I have the game already.
Can you get into your account? If you can't get into your account, you don't have the game. If you create,
I'm pretty sure I can get into my account. I just haven't had the time to get in my account.
Oh, I thought you were trying to recover it.
Oh no.
No, that's what it. That's. I was like, okay. I was thinking about downloading and playing a little bit this weekend too, but I've got a backlog to beat, and we still have to finish Paper Mario at some point.
That we do.
So hopefully we can do that. If you guys enjoyed this extra long podcast on Andor, please don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Go ahead and drop a like. You can give us a 5-star rating on our podcast of choice. It would be great. It greatly helps us out.
I'll give you a smooch.
Yeah. Maybe he'll give you a smooch. Maybe he'll show you his bare ass. It is a very, very good bare ass. Do you still have that photo?
Yeah.
Okay, good. It might be part of the Extra Life thing this year.
Oh, great. People need to pay money to see that. So, yeah.
Keep it weird. You're all winners out there, and have a fantastic rest of your day.
How long was that? How long did we go?